Roof is closed at NRG Stadium. And right now we send it down to the field. The fourth member of our team, Lewis Johnson, on what's been a crazy week for Case Keenum, Lewis.
Absolutely, Andrew. This time last week, Case Keenum was on a farm about 30 miles outside of St. Louis hunting white-tailed deer. The Rams had played on Thursday night, so he had the weekend off. So picture this, he's up in a tree with a bow and arrow, and he gets a text from his wife saying there had been some developments at the quarterback position for the Texans. Shortly afterwards, his agent called. Then Case got the call on Sunday night from Bill O'Brien. Well, O'Brien says he's come in and he's got great recall of the offense. Practice has been fantastic. The team respects him and they expect him to rally around Keenum as a quarterback today. And Case said, you know, you never know when you're going to get a call like that. But listen, he goes from being a hunter to the hunted by a ferocious Baltimore defense today.
No doubt about it. Good stuff, Lewis. We appreciate it. And Case Keenum, of course, played his college football here in Houston for the Cougars. The Ravens won the toss. They have deferred, so Justin Tucker will kick it away to Danielle Manning. Underway, week 16 of the NFL on CBS, and it is a touchback for Tucker. So here comes Case Keenum, who made 8 starts last year for the Texans. Lost all 8 in that miserable 2-14 season under Gary Kubiak.
How ironic would it be if Case Keenum came in here today and won his first game as a starter against Gary Kubiak, they couldn't get it done last year. If Case Keenum comes in and wins, Gary Kubiak's going to go home very unhappy.
There is Kubiak, the Ravens' offensive coordinator, after spending 8 seasons as the Texans' head coach. Keenum will start out of the shotgun on 1st and 10. Suggs coming with pressure. Keenum looking deep for Andre Johnson, and he's got it in Baltimore territory and out of bounds at the 46-yard line. A gain of 36.
This is a great job by Case Keenum coming off the edge. As Terrell Suggs, he steps up nice, and I'll tell you, you look on the outside, Andre Johnson, the old wily vet, got away with a little bit of a push-off here at the end to create some separation and made a nice catch over the top of Rashaan Melvin.
Melvin making his first NFL start today, and Keenum finds him right away. And how about this? Keenum down wide at the bottom of your screen. Direct snap to Arian Foster up the middle for a couple of yards. Some excitement to start this game offensively for the Texans. As we take a look at their offensive line, Chris Myers in his 10th year, and Keenum will rely on him to direct that offensive line. And DeAndre Hopkins did not practice all week, listed as questionable, starts today for the Texans.
Gives him the ability to stretch the field, and Case Keenum immediately going no huddle. We asked O'Brien about this. He said it's a possibility.
There's Hopkins making the catch, and he's got a Houston first down. What a start by this Texans offense as we look at the Baltimore defense. Chris Canty was also questionable this week with an ankle injury. He starts at defensive end. Terrell Suggs has a sack in 5 consecutive games, and you've already seen Melvin getting the start at corner.
Yeah, it's been a revolving door at that cornerback position against the defensive second that has been really victimized. Melvin already taking advantage of early.
Keenum back to Andre Johnson on his second catch. Now 2 away from 1,000 for his career.
You know, it's interesting. You come in, you wonder what's going to happen. We said it in the pregame. You expect them to hand the football off, lean on Arian Foster, but they cross up the Ravens. There's no way the Baltimore Ravens thought Case Keenum would come out and throw the football on 4 straight passes and then run a wildcat play. Great job by the coaching staff in Houston.
Keenum again goes to the top of your screen. Foster running right, following the block of his fullback cross. Foster has a Houston first down.
You know, Bill O'Brien told us that we were going to find a lot of interesting things the way they were going to use Arian Foster to here again in the direct snap wildcat running off the right side of that offensive line behind Derek Newton and Brandon Brooks. This is an offense that looks very well prepared today with a quarterback you would expect exactly the opposite.
Foster lined up in the slot on the bottom of your screen here on 1st and 10. To Johnson, his 3rd catch of this drive, and it's 1st and goal for the Texans.
Well, this is automatic stuff. I mean, Andre Johnson, the incomparable Andre Johnson, obviously been a favorite target of Case Keenum today. They have a relationship from last year when Case Keenum made the 8 starts. He feels very comfortable going to Andre Johnson.
Keenum is 4 out of 4 for 63 yards. Houston is 12th in red zone offense this year. And again, Keenum to the top of your screen. Foster trying to get to the outside, doesn't get there, but we have our first flag of the day. Courtney Upshaw makes the tackle. Today's referee is Walt Coleman.
Holding, number 60, offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
That's Ben Jones being called for that. You talk about it. It's interesting as they get off to a fast start here, the Texans. You see there, that's Jones. They get off to this fast start, and it's easy enough to come out and have a scripted set of plays, but pretty quickly here with a quarterback like Keenan, you're going to get to the end of that menu, and you're going to have to recycle the plays and start showing the same thing. You're going to run out of fresh ideas pretty quick.
First and goal from the 20 now. Just underway, first quarter. Keenum looking end zone, Hopkins out of bounds. And it'll be second down and goal.
You know, you're right, Steve. Talk about coming out and looking sharp like this. Every team in the NFL comes out with a script that they call it the first 15. It might be 15, it might be 20, whatever it might be. But that, I guarantee, was what Case Keenum and Godsey, the offensive coordinator, the quarterback coach, and Bill O'Brien have been sitting down going over that first 15 for the last couple of days. At some point, you got to start playing football in the course of the game.
Keenum on a delay to Foster. It's going to be third and goal for the Texans from the 17-yard line. One thing apparent on this drive so far is that Case Keenum's been targeting Rashaan Melvin of the Ravens.
Yeah, no question about it. And now you get to the point where Case Keenum, there's no way you can expect him to perform at a high level in red zone offense. There are teams who have been together for months and months and years, in fact, seasons, who struggle at different times in the red zone. The game closes, the field closes down, and it's difficult. So this would be a normal place where a team would struggle.
Third and goal. Foster in motion. Keenum to Foster, he dropped it. They did not rule that incomplete.
Now that was a forward pass.
It was forward pass, no doubt.
Now they say it's incomplete, but initially there was no whistle and they let the play go on, and now Houston will send out its field goal unit.
Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't have blown this dead. It was obviously an incomplete pass, and Baltimore again doing what they do best. They find a way to tighten up. Nobody scores a lot of points against the Ravens. They're the 5th-ranked red zone defense in the NFL against an inexperienced quarterback, like you said. They use that smaller, condensed field down there and keep the Titans from trying for a field goal.
Yeah, the decisions have to be quicker, and so do the holes. The holes are smaller.
Now a 35-yard field goal attempt by Bullock. He's now made 10 of his last 11. An impressive start on that drive for the Texans. They settle for 3 under Case Keenum. Joe Flacco getting set to take the field when we come back. A 10-play, 63-yard drive capped off by the Bullock field goal gives the Texans a 3-0 lead. And on that drive, Case Keenum 4 out of 6 for 63 yards. 3 of the 4 completions went to Andre Johnson, who's now just 1 away from 1,000 for his career. Bullock to kick it off, and the former Texan, Jacoby Jones, back deep for Baltimore, and he's going to return this one. Jones out of bounds at the 15-yard line. The Baltimore offense with its first drive when we come back. J.J. Watt and the Texans defense up 3-0 on the Ravens as they have their first drive here in the first quarter, and this crowd has come to life. Forsett on first down, and Akeem Dent wraps him up. Now check out what happened during that last commercial timeout. J.J. Watt so fired up as they played Turn Down for What here in Houston. Of course, the fans turned it into Turn Down for What. And we asked him about this yesterday, and he said, when they play that song, it fires me up so much. He was singing, dancing during that commercial timeout, and this crowd is rolling right now as they sang Turn Down for What. 2nd and 8. Forsett again tripped up, and Baltimore will be faced with 3rd and long. Guess who? J.J. Watt along with Brooks Reed.
And that was DJ Swearinger coming off the edge on the safety blitz right into that run, which forced Justin Forsett to cut it up inside. You see 36 coming off the edge. Swearinger did a great job of timing that blitz. Joe Flacco couldn't get out of the play.
Third down and 9. Flacco has time. Now steps up. Watt tried to get him from behind, could not. Flacco still going, lost the football, out of bounds. Flacco was stripped from behind, it goes out of bounds, and the Ravens will have to punt.
What John Harbaugh told us, they were going to have 1 or 2 guys at least on J.J. Watt. Oh, a great job right there by Ricky Wagner. This is a Baltimore Ravens offense that's given up the 2nd fewest sacks in the NFL, only 16. So Joe Flacco, great protection there, just nobody open down the field.
Merciless stripped it from behind, but it went out of bounds, and it's 4th and 4. Ravens will punt. That's just their 24th 3-and-out this season, 4th fewest in the NFL. Keyshawn Martin to return this punt. And he's wrapped up at the 25-yard line. J.J. Watt has this Houston crowd all riled up. A 3-and-out forced out by turn down for Watt. Tonight on 60 Minutes, Scott Pelley reports from Cuba on the historic shift in relations, plus a surprising interview with the godfather of the Tea Party, Senator Tom Coburn. Tonight, only CBS. Andre Johnson, 1 catch away from 1,000 for his career. He had 3 receptions on Houston's opening drive. 1st and 10 from the 25. Arian Foster gets around Suggs, and then wrapped up by the safety Jeremy Miles. John Harbaugh has really had a lot of praise for Jeremy Miles of late. Stepped into a much larger role with all the injuries in the Baltimore secondary, and Miles had an interception last week in the win over Jacksonville.
Well, it has been a mess in the back end for the Baltimore Ravens, but they've done an outstanding job covering up for them, and certainly that front 4 pass rush has really been the difference.
Keenum to throw on 2nd down. That pass is caught by the tight end Ryan Griffin. And it's been a hot start for Case Keenum. Now 5 out of 7 in this opening quarter.
Yeah, he looks under control. You know what I like the most about him? He's decisive. Even on that last play, we just saw the completion. He checked the protection at the snap.
3rd and 1. Keenum trip. Foster still gets forward for a 1st down.
That's why you need an experienced guy in there. Now Arian Foster is coming off limping hard. He must have gotten rolled up on. And that's the last thing the Texans need, but you depend on a veteran guy to cover that up. That's just the quarterback getting stepped on inside there. He gets caught up in a great penetration by Suggs, who timed the snap, and Foster comes off limping.
There's another injured Texan down on the field. Foster was able to hobble off, but that is Brandon Brooks, the right guard, slowly walking off. Happy holidays from Houston, and we take a look at Arian Foster trying to stretch it out on the Houston sideline, and Brandon Brooks also receiving attention on the sideline. Tyson Clabo has come on to play for Brooks on the Texans offensive line. This is Alfred Blue on the carry, and Blue gets to the 44-yard line. Let's go back to that previous play, take a closer look at Arian Foster.
You watch his left foot. Suggs times this perfectly and gets penetration. The Texans weren't ready for it up front. He rolls up, and watch the left foot right there. He got kind of twisted up inside. We think that's where it probably happened. He's back in the game though now, which is a great sign for the Texans.
And lined up at wide receiver on 2nd and 5. Foster only had to miss 1 play. Keenum looking deep, and it's intercepted. That one sailed on him, and Darian Stewart with his 1st interception of the season.
Yeah, this is a bad decision.
Well, yeah, you're going to see Case Keenum misread this coverage. Right here, you're going to see the safety coming over the top. And Case Keenum's looking that way the whole way, telegraphing where he's going with that. There's never going to be an easier interception for a defensive back. I mean, Stewart just counting his lucky stars right there.
He could have fair caught that one.
Yeah, that pretty much was a punt right to him, no problem whatsoever. Andre Johnson did not have a chance. That was just an inexperienced mistake, telegraphing the throw by Keenum.
Stewart's first interception since 2011 when he was with the Rams. So 1st and 10 for the Ravens from the 22-yard line. Flacco pump fakes, in trouble, gets rid of it. Pressure was coming.
Well, this play was made by Brooks Reed, who backs right into, watch Brooks Reed right here. He backs right to where Joe Flacco was going to throw the quick slant, forces Flacco to pull it back down, and it's too late. Watch Brooks Reed at the end of the line of scrimmage, backs right into where Joe Flacco was going to throw that quick slant, and that blew the play up.
And that was pushing on the pressure up the gut, too, that got the hit on Flacco.
And then Dent hit him as well. Flacco to the air again, gets rid of it to force set, chased by Crick, and once again, Baltimore faced with 3rd down and long. There's Brandon Brooks, the starting right guard for the Texans, slowly walking toward the locker room. So got to get an injury update on Brooks just as soon as possible. Lewis Johnson down on the sideline. Meanwhile, Joe Flacco and the Ravens faced with 3rd down and 11. Remember, they went 3 and out on their opening drive. And a timeout has been called by the Ravens with 5:36
Team timeout, Baltimore.
to go in the first quarter, and that crowd seems to be a factor. Roof is closed. It's loud here in Houston. John Harbaugh's team has run 5 plays, and they have 5 total yards in this first quarter. It's 3rd down and 11. Flacco fires to Steve Smith Sr., and he could not hold on. For the 2nd consecutive drive, the Ravens go 3 and out.
Well, this came up exactly as Gary Kubiak and Joe Flacco wanted it to. Nice, clean pocket. Flacco makes a good decision, throws a strike to Steve Smith. A little bit high. If Steve Smith were a couple inches taller than his 5'9" frame, he might have made that catch, but I think he should have made that catch anyway.
So 6 plays, 5 yards for the Ravens. And Cook on the punt for the 2nd time this quarter. Is a low, wobbly kick. Bounces at the 35. Martin lets it trickle down inside the 25-yard line. Week 16 continues later today on CBS, and for some of you on Fox. And then tonight with Sunday Night Football on NBC. And tune in tomorrow for Monday Night Football on ESPN. So let's see how Case Keenum responds after that interception. He's 5 out of 8 for 71 yards.
Well, there was no damage done on that interception either. It ended up being just like a punt. Baltimore not able to capitalize, goes 3 and out again for the 2nd time.
Ravens had a bit of a slow start last week against the Jaguars. Jacksonville led that game at halftime, and it's been another quiet first quarter here for Baltimore against Houston. Play action, Keenum. Looking deep down the sideline, and it's incomplete. He's trying to find DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, Ravens, Keenum took a shot on that throw, but this is something that you can look for the Texans to continue to do. This is the play action to Foster. Keenum's going to drop back. They want to keep this defense of the Ravens honest. They want to prove to them that they're not afraid to go deep. You would think they would be conservative. The game plan would be to be aggressive defensively, but if you can take shots down the field, the Texans will keep the Baltimore Ravens from teeing off on their new quarterback.
Foster hit in the backfield and stopped short.
Well, on that note, Steve Tasker, you were talking about, number one, this Baltimore defense, the 3rd-ranked rush defense in the NFL. They're very stout up front, and we figured they'd be focused on Arian Foster. Obviously, everybody's coming, pursuing to that football. The only way that Houston, I think, long-term in this game is going to have any impact offensively is if Case Keenum can make some plays up the field against that very vulnerable secondary of Baltimore. That's why they've been taking so many shots to this point.
3rd down and 10 for the Texans. Keenum calling out signals out of the shotgun. And he hands it off to Foster. How about this play call on 3rd and 10? Foster spinning his way, and he's got a 1st down. Bill O'Brien calls the plays for the Texans, and he dialed up a bit of a surprise there on 3rd down.
Yeah, and this is no question, it's a passing down, well executed up front. What the Texans did is using the penetration of the Ravens against them. They know they're getting some penetration up front. So in this case, they trap block it and get a seam that Foster can exploit.
Already 7 carries in this 1st quarter for Arian Foster. He's got 27 yards.
Hey, double, Dwayne.
Back to Foster, trying the left side. Stewart comes up to hit him, and Foster brought down at the 38-yard line.
But this is where Arian Foster is so good as well. You're going to see there's a free run at him, and they're running at Terrell Suggs. But right here, there's a defender coming up on the inside. That again was Darren Stewart. He's got the free, or Darian Stewart. Yeah, he's got the free run at Arian Foster. Arian Foster just makes it look so easy as he slips by him, picks up another 3 yards.
Balanced attack so far for the Texans. 9 rushes, 9 passes here with 3:10 to go 1st quarter. Alfred Blue to the 40. Did a good job to make sure that wasn't a negative play before Lawrence Guy could make the tackle.
Brandon Williams is really doing an excellent job working against Myers, the center for the Texans. He's just watching where Myers snaps the football, and wherever Myers' head goes, he kind of plows through it and goes the same direction that Myers, and he's getting big penetration into the backfield on this run game, and that's been the key, forcing everything wide.
And Williams, an impressive 2nd-year player out of Missouri Southern State. 3rd down and 3. Texans 2 for 3 on 3rd downs. Keenum over the middle to Foster. Room to run. Arian Foster spinning his way to the 35. There is a penalty flag back at the line of scrimmage. If it stands, it's a gain of 23 for number 23.
Offside, number 58, defense. The penalties decline. Play results in a 1st down.
Yeah, they've been jumping the snap all day.
That's Elvis Dumerville off the edge, the NFL sack leader. You're going to see right here coming off the edge, just a little bit early, timed it a little bit too early. Can't get into that neutral zone. A nice read by Case Keenum. A very difficult throw to a running back out of the backfield on that quick slant.
Not that he was breaking any news, but Bill O'Brien told us yesterday, you're going to see a lot of Arian Foster in this game, and that is certainly the case so far. Keenum to Johnson. Demarcus Johnson at the 15. Still going inside the 15 and down to the 13-yard line. Will Hill makes the tackle, but a gain of 22.
What you're going to see, this is a great job. Johnson off the left side or right side of your screen, just a slant, beats one-on-one. He's got nobody on the inside. That was Matt Elam, a safety, matched up on him in the slot. Great call, great execution.
Coming into this one, Johnson only had 3 catches in his last 3 games, and this one is blown dead.
Yeah, this is a cadence problem.
Keenum trying to tell the
False
crowd.
start, 74, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Keenum trying to tell the crowd to quiet down, and that penalty is on Tyson Clabo, who came in to replace the injured Brandon Brooks.
Yeah, they called it on Clabo, but actually Chris Myers, the center, didn't snap it. Both sides of the offensive line and the backs, and everybody took off running, and Myers was just a half a second late with the snap, so everybody was in motion on that play.
Approaching 1 minute to go, 1st quarter. Keenum hit as he throws, end zone incomplete. A flag is down, and Keenum took a shot from Courtney Upshaw.
And the Ravens just gave him the 5 yards back.
Offside, number 90, defense. 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Well, they traded 5-yard penalties, and Keenum, I think it was sharp to know. He went for the touchdown knowing that they had a free play right over here. And he just gets a quick jump again. That's the 2nd time that McPhee has been called.
And it was Upshaw that delivered that hit on Case Keenum.
That can't make Bill O'Brien feel very good, see this quarterback getting free runs at him like that.
So 1st and 10 with 54 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Foster. And Suggs drags him down at the 11-yard line. Well, Baltimore has only run 6 plays in this opening quarter for a total of 5 yards. And you can see Houston's dominated the time of possession.
Joe Flacco didn't even need to show up on time today. And they've just been watching this game.
2nd and 8. Keenum moves to the shotgun with 3 on the play clock. Keenum fires left, incomplete, pressure coming again. Darryl Smith came on a blitz for the Ravens.
Well, one of the things we're going to see, and you're right, Darryl Smith timed it up, and Case Keenum saw it coming. He went into the shotgun because of that. He wanted to give himself a little bit more room to get that ball off. But we're going to see, I expect, as this game goes along, a lot of balls thrown away by Case Keenum. If he's not sure, doesn't have a lane, that ball was jumped pretty strong. Rashaan Melvin jumped that slant. Keenum, I don't think, wanted anything to do with risking an interception at that point.
He's trying to get it to Andre Johnson for his 1,000th career catch. On this 3rd and 8, Johnson lined up top of your screen.
Let's go.
Keenum over the middle to Demarcus Johnson. He is slammed to the ground by Will Hill, short of a first down. And that takes us to the end of the first quarter. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Start of the second quarter in Houston. The Texans have a 3-0 lead, and Randy Bullock trying to add to that lead as he is out on this 4th down play to attempt a 25-yard field goal. Only the 2nd time in the last 20 quarters that Baltimore has not scored. And Bullock is good. Texans take a 6-0 lead. Well, big game coming up next here on CBS in this same state of Texas.
Here we go. Oh, what a grab! Touchdown, Cowboys!
Coming up next, Andrew Luck and the playoff-bound Colts take on Tony Romo and the first-place Cowboys, or the Bills battle the Raiders. Check your local listings, and because of that Eagles loss yesterday, Dallas can now clinch the division with a win today over the Colts.
Oh, how things can change in a matter of a couple of short weeks in the NFL. Philadelphia in control 2 weeks ago, now virtually eliminated, depending on what the Cowboys do, obviously, but they need a lot of help the next, over the course of today and next week to squeak into the playoffs.
Yeah, certainly opened the door for the Cowboys. We could know all 6 NFC playoff teams by the end of tonight. We will not know all of the AFC playoff teams by the end of today, however. Jacoby Jones, former Houston Texan, is back deep to receive this kickoff. He played 5 years for the Texans and returned 4 kicks for touchdowns. You'll get a chance here. Jones to the 25-yard line. As Joe Flacco and the Ravens offense come back out. 32-yard return for Jacoby Jones. Now here's a look at the AFC playoff picture. And Pittsburgh playing Kansas City. Ravens win their final 2 they are in. Big win last night for the Chargers on CBS, coming back to beat the 49ers and keeping their playoff hopes alive. Flacco to force set on first down. And we have an injury update on the sideline. Here's Lewis Johnson.
Well, Andrew, Houston guard Brandon Brooks is back now on the sideline having a chat with the doctors. He's had that left ankle retaped. Initially, when he came off, they were looking at the outside of the left ankle. He went to the locker room for 7 or 8 minutes, came back out, now retaped, discussing as to whether or not he'll get back in this game.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. Thank you very much, Lewis. 2nd down and 8 for the Ravens. Flacco fires to Steve Smith Sr. And good job after the catch by Smith Sr. for a 1st down. Our first New York update with JB and Bart Scott.
Brady with a pinpoint pass.
Yes, indeed. He's going to find Rob Gronkowski for a 3-yard score. Rob Gronkowski's 12th TD catch of the year. New England up 7-0.
And New England clinches a first-round bye with a win. Back to Andrew, Steve, and Steve.
All right, guys, thank you very much. As it's 1st and 10 for the Ravens after that catch by Smith. Now Flacco looking deep for Aiken, incomplete. Good coverage on the play by Kareem Jackson.
You can tell what will happen after they've had the first quarter that they had with like 3 minutes of time of possession, 6 plays offensively. They're going to put this ball in the hands of Joe Flacco and let him throw it. First couple of plays, one quick pass to Steve Smith for the 1st down. Then on 1st down again, sending the football deep down the sideline. You can tell Gary Kubiak is going to try and get his elite quarterback involved from now on.
Bernard Pierce on the carry, and he is stuffed. J.J. Watt getting in the backfield to make the tackle.
Well, that's J.J. Watt, penetrated as he does better than anybody else. That's his 23rd tackle for a loss on the season. Just whipping his old teammate Ricky Wagner. 23 tackles for loss this year. 2nd place is 5 behind that. Just another area that J.J. Watt dominates.
And another 3rd down and long for the Ravens. Houston coming with a blitz. Flacco hit as he throws. Smith makes the catch, but tackled short of a 1st down. Jared Crick came back and fired that hit on Flacco.
And Joe Flacco did not like that at all. Jared Crick coming off the top right there. Clean shot. The Texans did a great job disguising, changing the look up. The Baltimore Ravens protection did not account for the late switch by the Texans. Joe Flacco can't take many more hits like that.
Still just 1 1st down in this 1st half for the Ravens as Cook punts for the 3rd time. Martin lets it bounce at the 5, and it goes in the end zone. Houston will start at the 20 when we come back. A slow start for Flacco and the Ravens. 12:13 to go 1st half, and the Texans have a 6-0 lead on the Ravens. Baltimore with 2 wins in the final 2 weeks would clinch a playoff spot in this wild AFC. But right now, Case Keenum out of the shotgun on 1st and 10. Dumerville coming with pressure. Keenum fires left for Hopkins. Tried to bring it in with one hand, but could not. It's incomplete.
Well, whether you've got a brand new quarterback or not, when you see your opponent's secondary in the kind of shape that Baltimore's is, you've got to take shots down the field, particularly when you've got a guy like DeAndre Hopkins and Andre Johnson on the other side. Expect the Texans to continue to try and hit these guys deep. And then, when they really need it, depend on Arian Foster to get the tough yards and the important downs.
And again, Houston throwing away from Lardarius Webb and at Rashawn Melvin. It's been a theme here in the 1st half. Alfred Blue in it running back on 2nd and 10. 3 on the play clock. Andre Johnson, there is his 1,000th career catch. In his illustrious 12-year career, Andre Johnson now with 1,000 catches. The 10th player in NFL history and the 2nd fastest. This is his 168th career game. Only Marvin Harrison has done it quicker.
And I think, given his career, it's fitting that yet a 4th quarterback for the team in the season is the one who gives it to him. I mean, he has caught more balls from different quarterbacks than anybody who's been that elite for that long.
They just made the announcement here at the stadium, and a nice hand from the fans in Houston. Meanwhile, it's 3rd down and 6 with 2 on the play clock. Keenum takes the snap. Dumerville coming. Keenum gets away. Now chased by Suggs. Keenum will keep it, and he's got a 1st down. Slides down and a late hit A flag comes in. It was Darryl Smith that made contact late with Keenum.
It was a knee in the back. It looked like to me from way up here.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 51, defense. 15 yards from the end of the play, first down.
When the quarterback gives himself up like that and slides, you have to do everything you can possibly do to avoid contact, and you're going to see Smith comes in. I think his left knee is what kind of goes in the back of Case Keenum, and had a little forearm there as well.
Yeah, he should have gone over. If he's going to try and avoid, he should have avoided. He shouldn't have jumped with his knees into the guy and then bent his leg back. And that's a good call. You can't do that when the quarterback's sliding. You got to go over the top and avoid contact.
So the run plus the penalty puts the Texans in Baltimore territory on 1st and 10. Keenum throws it back to Damaris Johnson, and he's wrapped up quickly. Let's go back to that last play again and watch Keenum going down. Watch the left forearm of Smith.
To the head there.
Right to the head. And then the leg gets bent up. But make no mistake, the Ravens know the quarterback pool for the Texans is pretty shallow right now. And, John Harbaugh doesn't like that call at all. He thinks his guy was trying to let up. I don't completely agree with him.
There's a loss of 1 on 1st down, 2nd and 11 from midfield. Keenum, and it's incomplete. He's trying to find his tight end, Fedorowicz. 3rd and 11. Well, if you thought your fantasy season was over, it's not. Play for free, and you could win a trip to Super Bowl 50. Join today at NFL.com/playoff challenge.
I expect Bill O'Brien to be a little bit conservative here. 3rd and long against a very, very good 3rd down defense in the Baltimore Ravens. You got a quarterback who's not familiar with the 3rd down package. I expect a draw or a screen, something quick at the most.
I don't know. I might take a shot at the end zone. Why not? Even if it's picked off, it's a punt.
Keenum hit as he throws, and it's incomplete. Was looking in the direction of Andre Johnson. It was Lardarius Webb on the coverage, but Keenum was sent to the turf.
Yeah, Pernell McPhee coming with pressure, number 90. He's really been very active today. Hasn't made a sack yet, but he is finding a way into the backfield consistently right there. Case Keenum took another shot, and Andre Johnson, the fans believed that he was interfered with by Lardarius Webb. Well, he was interfered with, but that was just losing the foot.
Leckler punts it away, and downfield, good job by the Texans special teams led by Jamal Roll. So Baltimore will be pinned deep to start this next drive. A festive atmosphere here in Houston, but it's been a rough start for Gary Kubiak and the Ravens offense. 11 plays, 22 yards, and Flacco, with pressure coming from Cushing, is incomplete. All right, guys, what are you seeing from this Ravens offense? They're off to a very slow start.
Well, first of all, the Texans' front four are stopping the run cold, and their pass rush is getting home to Flacco. Flacco's got to make the decision to throw it a little quicker than he's used to.
And they're also, you're talking about 1st and 2nd down. They've had 3rd and long. They've only had the ball 3 times. All 3 of their 3rd down conversions have been 3rd and long attempts. So that you can't have success against a good Texas defense in that position.
Flacco hit from 10-10, got rid of it quickly. Flacco's pointing to someone on his team saying it was in his direction, but Akeem Dent came flying through to hit Flacco.
I think there's no question Flacco is throwing this away to keep it from being a sack. But you see there, Dent's right through, slips right high, 4-set, and now they're going to call this a flag. The flag comes in. They're saying he did it to prevent the sack.
Intentional grounding, number 5. Loss of down, 3rd down. Place the ball at the spot of the foul.
The fans are thinking that he was in the end zone. They wanted a safety, but instead they placed it at the 2. Take another look.
Where's the ball released? He's on the 1-yard line there when the ball comes out of his hand.
It doesn't get to the line of scrimmage. And that's, and you see he's outside the end zone, so they did spot it pretty close to accurately.
They gave him a yard.
Yeah.
And Justin Forsett, usually very good in pass protection. He missed to keep
Well, that's
in.
tough, though, when you're not in the shotgun, and Baltimore goes in the shotgun less than any team in the NFL.
3rd and 16. They give it to Forsett, just trying to get some breathing room. And once again, the Ravens go 3 and out for the 3rd time in this half.
Yeah, I think being right down there, backed up in their own end zone, the crowd is really loud here. This is a crowd that is cheering for an underdog football team, and they are way into it. I don't think the Ravens were anticipating this big a factor. Plus, the front 7 of the Texans are really winning the battle right now on every down.
Already the 4th punt today from Cook. Keyshawn Martin awaiting for it at his own 43. Martin to midfield and slammed down by Zachary Orr. Good field position for the Texans coming up. They lead it 6-0. Baltimore Ravens with 2 wins in their final 2 games are in. Also, here's the scenario for a Week 16 clinch. A win today coupled with losses by Pittsburgh and then Cincinnati tomorrow night. But right now, Baltimore again looking sluggish in the first half. They had a quiet first quarter in Miami, came to life. Very quiet first half last week against Jacksonville and then turned it on. And right now, it's all Houston, yet the Texans' lead is only 6. It's 6-0. 14 plays for 28 yards for the Ravens. And great field position here for Case Keenum and the Texans. Play action. Keenum rolling right. Chased by Guy, and Keenum throws it away. Good pursuit by Lawrence Guy, the 3rd-year man out of Arizona State.
Yeah, once again, Brandon Williams doing a great job inside. It's a good thing that was a play-action faker. It was going to be a loss of 5. The offensive line for both these clubs are really getting manhandled right now by this defensive fronts of both teams. This is turning in, and you can tell it's 6-0. It is a defensive battle. You can say what you want about the quarterbacks and the offensive firepower, but the defensive fronts of both of these teams are winning the battle.
On a delay, Foster, and that gap closed quickly. Courtney Upshaw and Will Hill.
Well, on that note, Steve Tasker, where the Ravens have, with Houston running 30 plays at this point, they've been moving the ball with the help of some penalties and a few other, on that first drive, some of the wildcat, things like that. But Baltimore has done what they've done all year. They've tightened up in that red zone, held to 2 field goals. But right now you see them kind of getting into their rhythm now, getting that pressure in the backfield.
Arian Foster has 56 total yards today. The Ravens as a team have just 28. 3rd down and 9. Dumerville coming on the outside. Keenum gets rid of it to Damaris Johnson, and C.J. Mosley with the tackle. A good 5 yards short of a first down.
Oh, very well played by C.J. Mosley. Probably the most impressive defensive rookie of the year. So I think he's probably the front runner for the rookie defensive player of the year. Very, very well coached. The 1st-round draft choice out of Alabama. Been so consistent all year right there. Another super play.
Leads all rookies in tackles and 7th overall in the NFL as Leckler again tries to pin the Ravens deep. Fair catch called for at the 14-yard line by Webb. 7:35 to go. Texans still in front. This season, only 30% of the Ravens' drives have ended in punt. That's the best mark in the NFL. But so far today, 100% of their drives have resulted in punts. 14 plays, 28 yards as the Ravens try to wake up here in the second quarter with 7:35 to go. Forsett, the former Texan, to the 15-yard line, and again, not much room to run. Tomorrow on CBS, 'tis the season for a holiday episode of NCIS Los Angeles. You can join the fun tomorrow at 10/9 Central, only CBS.
John Harbaugh told us yesterday that his goal ideally would be to score early and get Case Keenum and this Texans offense playing from behind, but it has not been that way. Fortunate to have only given up 2 field goals to Houston to this point.
Flacco, and that one is deflected and nearly intercepted, but there was a penalty flag, and there was a lot of contact by Jonathan Joseph.
You're 100% right, Andrew. I think they're going to get Jonathan Joseph for illegal contact, unless they may be pointing against the Ravens.
It was Torrey Smith, the intended receiver.
Yeah, he's asking the
Pass
Texans.
interference. Number 81 offense. That penalty's declined. Third down.
Well, they call it on Owen Daniels, but I think they called the wrong number. It was Torrey Smith that was locked up with Joseph.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, there definitely was a lot of look at him. He's.
Well, I don't know. I
don't know how you call that offensive.
How you call it on offense?
No,
that's dual contact at best.
So it's third down and 9. Flacco, pass was deflected at the line and incomplete.
Yeah, they're doing a nice. I'm sorry. The Texans are doing a nice job of stepping into the throwing lanes. You'll see here. It's a Swearinger. He's just going to step into the throwing lane. As Flacco gets it, Swearinger comes from underneath and jumps up out of the traffic that Flacco can't see. And of course, there's J.J. Watt going all the way around with great speed and getting in just a hair late.
I think that was a terrible pass interference call, which was significant on that. But I should have gone the other way. That should have been a first down for Baltimore.
5 possessions, 5 punts now for the Ravens. Martin at the 35. Slips by Aiken. And Martin out of bounds at the 45-yard line. 6-0. The Texans lead. You're watching the NFL on CBS. It's been a rough start for this Ravens offense.
Not able to get the ball moving on the ground or in the air. There's been no rhythm whatsoever to this Baltimore Ravens offense, and Gary Kubiak knows that he and his quarterback need to figure out some way to start moving the chains and keep their defense off the field. John Harbaugh very upset, very frustrated. He knows that was a bad call on that pass interference. We all agree. We looked at it again from the All-22 up here.
And here's the Wildcat again as Keenum goes in motion now under center on 1st and 10. 6.5 to go in the first half. Keenum. And that one is knocked away. And it's Pernell McPhee again for the Ravens. What a season the fourth-year man out of Mississippi State is having. And he's in a contract year. Pernell McPhee is going to get paid in this offseason.
Well, he's coming right here. Really well disciplined. Stays disciplined with his eyes. Knows that it's going to be a comeback, and it just stays at home. It could be anything, and that's so difficult for defenders to do sometimes, not to chase that play in the direction the offensive line goes. McPhee, you're right. He's having a fantastic year. Been caught a little bit offsides today. He's a little bit juiced up for this game.
5.5 sacks on the season. Quick pass there, and it's incomplete.
Well, we're seeing right now a little bit of what we kind of expected. We knew that the best chance for success for Case Keenum in this offense was to come out early with that scripted first 15. Now you see them having to call plays on the fly and trying to go through his reads and his progressions. There's George Godsey, the quarterback coach, who maybe Bill O'Brien's calling the plays, but Case Keenum is going to have a very small package of plays he's comfortable with. I don't care what anybody says.
A struggle throwing the deep ball today, and he's got a 3rd and long here. 3rd and 10. Direct snap to Foster. Second time on 3rd down that Arian Foster has run the football, but he does not get the first. Out of bounds at the Baltimore 49.
Well, they're doing everything they can to misdirect the defense, and the Ravens are having none of it. Watch as Keenum acts like this ball's going over his head. Foster just cuts in front of him. They get a little bit of help from that. It looks like they're going to get to the edge, but Suggs strings it out and gets in on the tackle and stops it on a 3rd and 4. That's a pretty good play. You see there, Foster giving McPhee a little bit extra.
Well, Case Keenum told us yesterday, we have a great punter, so if we have to play the field position battle, we will. As Leckler punts, that one bounces at the 3. Did it go in the end zone?
It did, I think.
Yes, they are saying it's a touchback. Nearly a great punt by Leckler. Now in his 15th year, 38 years old.
Well, they're not kidding. Leckler's one of the greatest to ever play that position, and there you see in the end zone. Morris is in the end zone, and he can't touch it until he reestablishes, and there the ball bounces in. It's not that difficult, and those guys
struggle to get it done.
Well, you can get the fastest sports scores and updates with the CBS Sports app. It's the fastest app for sports fans. Download the CBS Sports app now. Let's see if the Ravens can get something going offensively. 17 plays, and they have just 30 total yards. Forsett stopped close to the line of scrimmage. 18 plays now for the Ravens, and 10 have gained 0 yards or less. This offense is going backwards.
This is the number 5 ranked run defense, or run offense in the NFL. Justin Forsett on the season leading the NFL in yards per carry, 5.4 yards per carry. But today, they haven't had anything close to a 5-yard run.
Also been backed up a lot to start their drives. 2nd and 9. Flacco pump fakes now, fires high to Torrey Smith, and he couldn't bring it in.
Joe Flacco is throwing the football backpedaling today. He can't set his feet. He's really worried about the pass rush, and why not? J.J. Watt giving a full effort on this play, trying to wade through Marshall Yanda and Wagner. A pump fake by Flacco. There's just no place for Flacco. Does not feel comfortable back there throwing the football. That's painfully obvious for the Ravens.
Flacco is just 2 for 10 passing, and now faced with a 3rd and 9. Quick pass deflected in the air, intercepted, picked off by the Texans. A.J. Boye with his 3rd interception, and J.J. Watt got a hand on that one.
You got to give credit to Romeo Crennel, the defensive coordinator. He's got Joe Flacco, like you said, Steve Tasker, on his heels. That's the 32nd takeaway by the Houston Texans. That leads the NFL. 18th interception. Flacco backing up again. It was
Jared Crick that got his hand on it.
Jared Crick got the hand on it, tipped up in the air. That's the 2nd or 3rd ball that Joe Flacco's thrown that could have been picked off. You keep playing with fire, it's going to happen eventually, and this Texans defense really opportunistic. Great field position for this offense.
3rd interception this season by A.J. Boye, and as Steve Berline said, the 32nd takeaway by the Texans. That's the most in the NFL, and now great field position for Houston. Keenum over the middle, caught by Johnson, and a gain of 4 on the play.
Well, once again, the Texans find themselves surprisingly before this game. It's surprising that they've been in the red zone now for the 3rd time in the first half. Once with a turnover now by Boye. But Case Keenum now, you got to know, the package of plays that they have to go to is so small. They're going to start repeating plays, and that might give Baltimore's defense an edge.
5-7 play. 5-7 play.
Keenum, low throw and incomplete. Again, if the Ravens, who have been really slow here in the first half, can limit Houston to a field goal and make it a 9-0 game, that's a win for Baltimore.
You're exactly right. We've said it a few times because they've been in the red zone a few times, the Texans have. The Ravens counting on this red zone defense to step up. There's 6 in the NFL coming into this game. Right there, the play discrepancy, time of possession, unreal. The Baltimore Ravens not used to that at all.
Texans are 4 for 9 on 3rd downs. It's 3rd and 6. Keenum, end zone for Hopkins, incomplete. Coverage on the play by Lardarius Webb. And another good job by this Ravens defense to force Houston into attempting a field goal.
Well, we talked to Lardarius Webb yesterday afternoon. He told us he's as healthy as he's felt all year. He's battled a couple of injuries this year, back injury being the most significant right there. Hopkins trying to go up and out jump, but Lardarius Webb got a nice wingspan of his own, able to defend that very well.
Bullock already 2 for 2 today. This one will be from 30 yards out. 3rd-year man out of Texas A&M. Native of Klein, Texas, and he is 3 for 3. So the Texans increase their lead. It's 9-0 over Flacco and the Ravens. Well, coming into this one, the Texans had 5 consecutive touchdowns on red zone drives, but today 3 field goals in the red zone for Houston. They lead at 9-0, and Joe Flacco 2 out of 11 for 17 yards and an interception.
Cannot believe Case Keenum has thrown 25 passes in the first half of this ball game. He's only about a 54% completion guy for his career to this point, so the 12 of 25, you're not surprised, especially since he's only been here for a few days. But I'm just surprised at how aggressive they've been taking shots up the field. I'm not so much up the field, just how much they put the ball in his hands.
So Bullock will kick it away, and Jacoby Jones is back deep with 3:54 to go in the first half. Returnable for Jones, but he'll take a knee. And Baltimore will start at the 20-yard line. Well, so far, it's not been the homecoming Gary Kubiak envisioned. 8 years here as the Texans head coach, a Houston native. And all throughout the week, Texans players talked about just how much Kubiak meant to them. Chris Myers called him a second father. J.J. Watt said he was a phenomenal guy. A lot of respect for Gary Kubiak on both sides of the football, but his offense looks sluggish here as Flacco fires another incompletion. Joe Flacco's 2 out of 12.
Steve Smith lost his footing there, Steve Smith Sr., but we've hit on it a few times. They do not have any rhythm. They're trying whatever they can do to make positive yards on first down. They have not been able to create any kind of a seam for Justin Forsett, and Joe Flacco, his completion percentage is hideous to this point.
And a lot of credit to this in the Colts a week ago, and now they're giving Joe Flacco and the Ravens all sorts of problems as Smith goes in motion, 1 on the play clock. Flacco gets it off. Again off his back foot, and it's intercepted! A second pick. There is a flag down at the line of scrimmage. Ball is still loose. They're saying that it is Houston football.
I think J.J. Watt was held.
Holding in the 60 offense. Penalties declined. First down, Houston.
Second interception this quarter for Joe Flacco.
And once again, he was backpedaling to throw. This is right here. Eugene Monroe working against J.J. Watt. He dips the shoulder and rips, and Monroe doesn't let go, and I think that's a soft call too, even though it turned into an interception anyway. You can see Joe Flacco, as he whips that ball out, he didn't turn his hips and throw that football normally. He kind of threw it across his body to try and get rid of it. He turned around, saw J.J. Watt, and just flicked it out there.
Second interception of the season for Kareem Jackson, and again, golden field position for the Texans. 1st and 10 at the 19-yard line.
And Joe Flacco only had 2 interceptions in the last 6 games coming into this one, playing at a very high level of efficiency. Today, an absolute nightmare to this point.
Yeah, that was, and I think you and I agree. I didn't see the hold on that. No question Monroe got his hands on him, but I didn't think.
All turnovers subject to review, and they're going to take another look at this one just to make sure Jackson had possession as we take a look here.
Well, then the holding, if they don't turn this into an interception, or if they take this interception away, and that to me, that's no question. He's got that. There's nothing to overturn that there. Oh, and the ball comes out late.
But no, it looked to me like he had complete control when he hit the ground. And
you see Flacco almost pushing off his front leg instead of his back leg to throw that.
It was a bad decision, too. Flacco, he felt the pressure from J.J. Watt, and he threw into tight coverage. He knows better than that.
See, there's the ball. He's got it. Tucks it away. To me, that's a catch. He goes down. Yeah, this is going to stand. I don't know that it'll confirm the interception, but it certainly is not going to overturn it.
No,
this call will stand.
I agree.
Coming into this game, Flacco had just 1 interception in his last 5 games. He's got 2 in this quarter, assuming this play stands.
And if it is overturned, then the holding call comes back into play, and they'll back it up 10 yards anyway, or half the distance on the holding penalty.
Well, one of the things, too, that John Harbaugh knows that's been a staple of this Baltimore Ravens organization for a very long time, going well back into the Ray Lewis days and Ed Reed. They do not use anything as an excuse for allowing points. Whether the ball is turned over deep in their own territory or not, they expect to keep the opposing team out of the end zone. So this defense will not get frustrated. They'll keep coming. Great play by Kareem Jackson. I mean, the more you look at it, you realize what a great play it was.
And the play will stand. It's an interception, the second today, thrown by Joe Flacco. And Houston will start this drive in the red zone at the 19-yard line. Walt Coleman having microphone issues. But he's pointing. It's Houston football. So Case Keenum and the Texans already up 9-0. We'll start this drive at the 19. And 19 plays in Baltimore territory in this first half for the Texans. Arian Foster. And no gain on the play by Foster. And Steve Berline, he made a great point. Can't believe Case Keenum's thrown the ball 25 times, but the Ravens defense done a good job of neutralizing Foster for the most part today.
They really have. Arian Foster, 37 yards on 12 carries to this point. You see the play selection, 15 run, 25 pass. You know, you figure that Bill O'Brien just wanted to find a way to get a lead on this Baltimore. He had a lot of confidence how his defense has been playing. So far, so good.
Foster again, and he gets up to the 16-yard line. It'll be third down. So can the Ravens force another field goal attempt by the Texans here in the first half?
And now Case Keenum and this crowd is way into it. They realize now how it's quiet as it's ever been in this stadium. I mean, it's really, I think, a shock to these fans how well this offense is playing with a guy that wasn't here a week ago.
Andre Johnson up here, one-on-one coverage. Here comes the blitz. Case Keenum recognized it, trying to change protection.
One on the play clock, gets it off. Keenum over the middle to Griffin at the 10. First down for the Texans. First and goal to the 5-yard line. Dumerville makes the tackle, but the Texans move the chains.
Well, this was all pre-snap. Case Keenum doing a nice job being patient. You saw him push the play clock way down to allow the offense to set his protection. Great job down there to get that ball to Griffin.
2-minute warning in Houston. 2-minute warning in Houston. Ravens have done a great job this year defensively on goal-to-go situations, third best in the NFL, and they need a big stop here, already down 9-0. Keenum with first and goal from the 5-yard line. They pitch it to Foster, trying to get around the outside. Now he's going to throw it, end zone, touchdown! C.J. Fedorowicz, the first touchdown of his career.
That is the best executed halfback pass I've ever seen. Initially, I was thinking it might be, but the way that Arian Foster disguised it, stretched it to the sideline, and then made a terrific stretch throw the last minute. I mean, he looks like he's running the ball, waits to the last minute, up and over the top. Great job by Fedorowicz as well, but what a super job by Arian Foster delivering that ball.
Texans could not get anything going in the red zone. They had to settle for 3 field goals to this point in the red zone. So they try something a little different, mix it up, and it works. And Bullock makes it 16-0. First pass of Arian Foster's career. And Fedorowicz with his first touchdown all started with that interception by Joe Flacco.
Yeah, Joe Flacco's second interception in the red zone, or giving the ball to the Texans in the red zone. That does not spell out anything good for any team. It leads to a touchdown finally, this time on the great play, the great sell job under pressure by Arian Foster.
on the sidelines. The Texans, they know, you believe me, the word spreads on the sideline that they called this play because there's a lot of chatter about it in practice, and Case Keenum, who was out on the back side of that for a quarterback throwback in case Foster wanted him, likes that as well. But the players know when those trick plays are called, they've seen him run them in practice, they want to get a look at him, see if they can pull him off in the game, and Arian Foster comes through.
And they pass it down the sideline. Everybody kind of whispers, hey, here comes halfback pass.
Here comes that pass.
Everybody gets excited about it.
.153 to go, and the Texans are stunning the Ravens right now, 16-0. And a touchback by Bullock. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores, highlights, and first half analysis. That's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. Well, there's a lot of happy Chargers fans right now as Baltimore, controlling its own destiny, win their final two, and they're in. They've got some work to do here. Keep in mind they do get the ball to start the second half.
Of all playoff contenders, Baltimore had the best final three games. Jacksonville, Houston, then Cleveland at home. They've got to find a way to capitalize.
Flacco screen to Forsett. Forsett to the 25 and tackled at the 29-yard line. That's going to be just short of a first down. Meanwhile, 1:40 and counting to go. The Ravens have 2 timeouts remaining. And now they're going to say it's a first down. So Forsett got just enough, a gain of 10. That's their longest play of the half. 10 yards on a screen pass. Flacco has some time. Now fires deep for Steve Smith, and it is broken up by Boye. Flacco bought some time. Smith had one-on-one coverage, but they could not connect.
This is a throw that Joe Flacco has to make. He makes this throw in his sleep on a normal day. You're going to see how open Steve Smith was and where Joe Flacco has to put this ball. If he gets this ball out in front of Steve Smith, there's nobody on the whole left side of the field over here. That ball it's a throw that Joe Flacco can make in his sleep. Don't know why he didn't put it out in front of Steve Smith.
Flacco now 3 out of 15 passing. Looking deep again down the sideline, right back to Smith. He made the catch, but was he in bounds? No. Heck of an effort by Steve Smith Sr.
And I think
now he's slow to get up.
He knocked the wind out of himself. Yeah, I mean, look at the guy tapping him on the. Every player out there has been through this exact thing. He's going to make the extreme effort. What a great job to pull this ball in. He just lands out of bounds, and that knocks the wind right out of you. And, yeah.
Well, and John Simon and Brian Cushing had a big hit on Flacco right there, high and low. I mean, that was unbelievable pressure. Flacco great just to get that ball off.
Simon, the former Raven, and Cushing in his 6th year out of USC.
And now they're examining his right knee, which I didn't see anything.
I think he was just propping up that right knee.
Yeah.
The impact had to be it. It's got to be that, yeah.
He's now up and receives a nice hand from the fans here in Houston. 35 years old, Steve Smith Sr. On his 14th season in the NFL.
Now sitting in 15th place on the all-time career receiving yard as well with over 13,000.
And important to note, Baltimore was charged for a timeout because of the injury inside 2 minutes to go. So now the Ravens with just 1 timeout remaining. It's 3rd and 10. Flacco again looking deep. Now over the middle, floats one, incomplete. And Joe Flacco, wow, lucky to get away with that one. He's now 3 out of 16.
We've seen Joe Flacco play a lot of football games. He's literally one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL. I love watching him play, but I've never seen him play as poorly as he's played in this first half. He's throwing more balls up for grabs than I've seen him in his whole career to this point in the first half today.
We've covered him since he was a rookie. He played better in his first start than he's playing today.
Second fewest first half completions of Flacco's career. He had 2 in 2008 against Washington, and he's got 3 today. Martin on the punt return, and Orr with the tackle on special teams. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cower. They'll have all the latest NFL scores, highlights, and first half analysis, and there's a lot to say about this game. It's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. Look at the QB comparison. And
well, nobody's going to Canton with those numbers on either side, but the surprise is Case Keenum and the decision to put the ball in his hands.
Now the Texans have 3 timeouts remaining and 51 seconds on the clock. They'll start this drive at their own 22.
I think they'll be very conservative right here with Case Keenum.
Throwing on first down deep. There's your conservative, and it was nearly intercepted. Will Hill made a diving attempt.
But that's why you should be conservative. There's no reason to be aggressive right now. If Case Keenum makes a mistake right here, you give points to the Baltimore Ravens and momentum. You need to be running screen passes, draw plays. There's no reason to have him putting the ball up the field like that, over the middle especially.
And they heard Steve Berline down on the sideline. A handoff to Foster. That's a little more conservative. Goes out of bounds. Because now the Ravens, with 1 timeout remaining, could potentially force a punt and get the ball back. Again, the Texans still mathematically alive for the playoffs at 7-7. They need to win out. They play Jacksonville next week, and then hope for a lot of help, and scenario a lot more crystal clear for the Ravens, who, if they win out, are in, but in a 16-0 hole here late in the first half. 3rd down and 5. Another handoff to Foster. And now Baltimore with 1 timeout remaining. John Harbaugh calls it, and they'll force the Texans to punt with 33 seconds left on the clock.
And that's why you needed Arian Foster to stay in bounds on the last play.
Right. Look at Foster. He's pointing to McPhee. Look up at the scoreboard as those two have a few words.
Well, Foster got laid on out of bounds by Jernigan on the last run play of the sweep, where we thought he should stay in bounds. And then, as John Harbaugh has a little bit more to say, he has not been happy with the officials this half, and a couple of times where we agreed with him.
You know what John Harbaugh needs to do? He needs to figure out what he's going to say to his team at halftime, because this team needs to wake up. I expect them. John Harbaugh was a special teams coach for all of his career until he became the head coach in Baltimore. I would not be surprised to see him come with an all-out punt block right here.
Yeah, and he's talking to the official there about, you know, the extracurricular stuff, Arian Foster, and because he knows, I mean, the Baltimore Ravens don't back down an inch.
They blocked one last week against Jacksonville, not here. And a fair catch called for by Jacoby Jones at the 25-yard line with 25 seconds left. So if you're the Ravens, you just go in the locker room, or you just try to take a couple shots with no timeouts?
I think you got to take a couple shots.
Yeah.
You got to try and get into field goal range. You got a great quarterback who's playing terribly right now, but he is one of the best in the league. You got to let him try and make a few plays.
But you also got to protect him. I mean, the one thing that the Texans have done, they've gotten a lot of big hits on him. You don't want to lose him just before halftime, but they do have time to complete a couple of passes even in the middle of the field if they can get up and spike the ball.
Flacco over the middle, incomplete. Was looking for Smith. Good sign to see him back in after he left that last drive with an injury.
But again, that's a throw that Joe Flacco makes all day long. Was it wide open? No, but he was open. In the NFL, if you can see the receiver and see his numbers, that throw is expected to be made. That ball should have been completed by Joe Flacco.
Flacco 5-1 in his career against the Texans, but in the last 3 first halves against Houston, no touchdowns, 4 interceptions. It's 2nd and 10. Watt coming, and now Crick with the sack. Jared Crick Now with 2.5 sacks on the season, the Ravens cannot stop the clock. And in all likelihood, unless Houston calls a timeout, that will end the first half. O'Brien will not call timeout. And what a first half for the Houston Texans. The Ravens with 31 yards of offense in the first half. Let's go down to Lewis Johnson.
Well, Bill, your thoughts on the way your offense is playing, led by Case Keenum here so far?
He's done a nice job, and it's just one half of football. You know, it's the NFL, so we gotta regroup here at halftime, come out and finish the game.
And so far, your defense pitching the shutout. What do you need to see in the second half from your defensive front seven, especially J.J. Watt?
Yeah, they've done a nice job, you know. And again, it's only one half of football, so we got to go in there at halftime and make some adjustments, and understand that Baltimore is going to make some adjustments too. So we got a big half left.
All right, Bill. Thanks.
That's the end of the first half with the score Houston 16, Baltimore nothing. We'll be back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Feliz Navidad.
Right now the Ravens have coal in their stocking. They trail 16-0 as we start the third quarter. Time to take a look at the Bose game changer. And after some failures in the red zone settling for field goals, Houston goes to its bag of tricks. Arian Foster to C.J. Fedorowicz, and the Texans have a 16-0 lead. Back in the booth with the Steves, Berline and Tasker. I'm Andrew Cattle on a stunning first half. Case Keenum, first start of the year. His team leads at 16-0, and he got some help from Arian Foster, who threw one pass in college at Tennessee. He was 0 for 1, and then he just threw another one. So he's 1 for 1 in his NFL career, throwing the football for 5 yards and a touchdown. Are you jealous, Steve Berline?
He looked like he'd done it before. He was cool as a cucumber underneath pressure there. No doubt about it.
Case Keenum threw the ball 27 times in the first half for 140 yards, also at 13 yards rushing. The Ravens will get the ball to start the second half. Let's see what adjustments John Harbaugh called for in the locker room as Jacoby Jones will take this one out. And Jones with some room. The former Texan tripped up at the 33-yard line. Well, what are your second half adjustments?
Well, you can say whatever you want to say. That the Ravens are not able to run the ball. They're not pass protecting all that well, but Joe Flacco's had some opportunities to make plays. Your big-time quarterback has got to step up and get this team going. He's got to make plays in the second half.
And for the Texans, don't protect this 16-point lead. You've got to play exactly like you did in the first half. Let Case Keenum throw the football and keep the Baltimore defense off balance.
They start this half going to the air. Akeem Dent coming with pressure, and the pass is incomplete. Looking for Owen Daniels. That makes Flacco 3 out of 19 passing.
You know, we were kind of joking at halftime as we talked about the half Joe Flacco has had. No question that the defensive front for Texans has been outstanding, and he takes another shot on this play, but I want to know who that guy is and what he did with the real Joe Flacco, because we've seen Joe Flacco win Super Bowl. This is not that guy.
Justin Forsett with some room, and Forsett to the 40-yard line. They'll bring up third down. Well, our statistician Mike Notaro dug deep, and here's what he found. December 15th, 1991, Steve Berline in the first half against Philadelphia. 2 out of 17 for 17 yards. Yes, what are you going to say?
Who won the ball game?
Well, that's a good sign for the Ravens.
I'll figure that out. I was quarterback for the Cowboys. Jimmy Johnson said, just don't turn it over. We'll win this game. I got player of the game that week.
Oh, my gosh.
Third down and 4. Ravens 0 for 7 on third downs in that first half, and that one is going to be short.
Fumble. No, he didn't. He got it back.
Forsett was down.
Hey, Mike, you dig up the second half numbers in that thing and see who won the game. Get Andrew Catalon off my back.
Well, there's an injured Raven, and that is Justin Forsett, who after that last carry is still down on the ground.
This play gets rolled up. You see the pursuit everything converges at once, and there you can see his right ankle gets bent back.
Lorenzo Taliaferro already on injured reserve, and now the Ravens medical staff attends to Justin Forsett. We're back in a moment. On 4th and 2, the Ravens punt, and Martin with did not call for a fair. Yes, he did. I was wondering why there was no whistle.
That should be.
Justin Forsett was able to walk off under his own power during that commercial timeout. A good sign for the Ravens, who had to punt it away on their first drive of the second half.
Yeah, and you see we see the halves of the stats of the first half.
31 total yards for the Baltimore Ravens.
That's a shocker. Now the 2 turnovers lead to some of that, but those turnovers, one of them led to, they both led to points. And Forsett now up and around, looks like he's going to be able to remain in the game, but we'll have to wait and see. Bernard Pierce there, number 30, you see, will probably be the next man up if Forsett needs a break.
So the Texans backed up to start this drive. Early third quarter, they lead it 16-0. Foster met at the line of scrimmage, and maybe a yard on the play. C.J. Mosley leading the charge. Look at the first half possessions for the Texans. Had to settle for 3 field goals, but then had that touchdown pass from Foster to Fedorowicz late in the first half.
And that was huge. I mean, to be down there 4 times and come away with 4 field goals would have been a huge disappointment. Great call at the right time by Bill O'Brien with that halfback pass.
Leave it on. Out from
Mosley coming on a blitz. Keenum has time and throws it incomplete at the feet of Arian Foster. Courtney Upshaw on the coverage.
Yeah, and this is going to be pressure again from the outside. And Keenum's going to have to step away from it. And then as he lets this go, he takes the big shot, but he's throwing that away as Foster kind of slips on the ground.
Timmy Jernigan, the rookie out of Florida State, who's really made an impact for this Ravens defense in the absence of the suspended Haloti Ngata, was the one who made that hit on Case Keenum, and now it's 3rd down and 9. Three on the play clock. Keenum hands off to Foster. Conservative call on 3rd down for the Texans, and they will be forced to punt.
You know what they're doing when Bill O'Brien flexes Arian Foster out there before the play. He's trying to see whether it's man-to-man coverage or zone right there, because Arian Foster was not covered by a linebacker or a safety on the outside. They knew it was zone. He wanted to run the football up inside against zone. So Case Keenum called him back inside. Just didn't work out too well for him.
Leckler punting from his own end zone. Good kick. Jacoby Jones at the 36. Gets away from 1. Jones reverses field, trying to get down the sideline. Jacoby Jones with blockers. There are flags down. Jones down the sideline and pushed out of bounds around the 25-yard line. But there is a flag on the near side of the field at the 35. If it stands, it's a 45-yard return.
Illegal block in the back, number 50 of the offensive team while the ball was in the air. That 5-yard penalty will be assessed from the end of the play. 1st down.
Yeah, and that should now look at it. They had it backwards. All the players are going back towards the other end. Now they said, oh, it's on the wrong side. Now it's way down deep in Texans territory. Now, see, they've got this. Now they may reverse this.
That's a 10-yard penalty. We'll go half the distance to the goal.
So the penalty goes against the Texans. Baltimore with great field position when we come back. Well, the Ravens needed a spark, and they got one from Jacoby Jones, the former Texan, with a season-long 45-yard punt return. And how about this? First time today, the Ravens will run a play in Texans territory. Flacco floats one, end zone. It's caught, but was Smith in bounds? No, out of bounds.
Well, this is a throw that we're more akin to seeing Joe Flacco make, and that looks like a catch to me. That's very close to being a good catch by Steve Smith. Hard to see from that angle if he had both hands on the ball, but it looked like he got the toe drag down. That looked like a pretty good catch.
Well, it's 2nd and goal, 12:08 to go, 3rd quarter. This is Fitzgerald Toussaint, the first carry of his career. And not much doing on that one. Now a late flag comes in, some pushing and shoving after the play.
Now this game is getting a little bit chippy as it happens when a team comes in expecting the game to go a lot differently than it has. There's some frustration on the Baltimore sidelines, and the Texans are poking them with a stick. I mean, they're not backing down at all either. Both these teams are getting a little bit chippy. They were late in the first half. John Harbaugh talked to the official about it.
The Ravens should be chippy. They should be playing like they got a major problem this second half. They should be stirring it up.
After the play is over, personal foul, number 95, defense. It'll be half the distance to the goal from the dead ball spot. First down.
Walt Coleman animated on that call. It goes against the Texans. And a quick correction, that's the 2nd carry of Toussaint's career. Both have come today, the rookie out of Michigan.
Now they called this on Gerald Poe. Poe's on the sidelines. It might have been Crick. I see Poe's coming back on the field now. He wasn't even on the field for that penalty.
So it's an automatic first down, 1st and goal.
That was Romeo Cornell right there, who's done a masterful job all day with this Texans defense.
Texans have 6 red zone takeaways this year, tied for number 1 in the NFL with the Ravens and the Lions. 4 sets. And J.J. Watt tracks him down from behind.
You know, you sometimes watch this J.J. Watt guy, and he treats these running backs and other people on the team like they're rag dolls.
Well, look, he runs outside around the block of Wagner and then runs back down inside and chases the running back down before he can get 2 yards up the field and makes the tackle. I mean, that kind of speed from a guy that weighs 290 is pretty special. And you see there, look at the rush yards today. They are behind schedule, to say the least.
Just 14 yards rushing. It's 2nd and goal. Flacco fires wide open, touchdown! Torrey Smith. That's his 9th touchdown of the season, a new career high for Torrey Smith.
This is a complete, it's a full blitz by the Houston Texans defense. Picked up very nice. You're going to see everybody coming inside, and the pocket is clean for Joe Flacco, and nobody covers Torrey Smith. Just left wide open, uncovered. That's the problem when you come with an all-out blitz like that. Everybody's got to know their assignments. They left Torrey Smith completely uncovered.
All set up by that 45-yard punt return from the former Texan Jacoby Jones. Just the jolt that this Baltimore team needed, and Flacco able to find a wide-open Torrey Smith. The Ravens are on the board. The Ravens have proven they are a second-half team this year, plus 70 in scoring differential. That's 2nd best in the NFL behind the Kansas City Chiefs. And the spark on special teams, the touchdown pass from Flacco, and it's 16-7 in favor of the Texans now as Tucker kicks it away to Manning. And it will be a touchback. Tomorrow, these geniuses can solve any problem, but they can't do it without each other. Don't miss the new hit series, Scorpion, tomorrow at 9/8 Central, only CBS.
You don't think that special teams are huge? I know you do, Steve Tasker, but we didn't get a chance to talk about the magnitude of that play because it was so confusing who they were calling the penalty on, but that was a game-changing type of play.
And the Ravens special team struggled last week against Jacksonville. Jacksonville had a successful onside kick. They converted a fake punt and 3 special teams penalties on the Ravens last week as well. Jacoby Jones with the big play here in the 3rd quarter as Andre Johnson makes that catch going to the ground, or does he? No, it's ruled incomplete. It bounced first.
Andre making his case. We'll see if it comes in, if the ball bounces up into him, or if he drops it to the ground.
That looks like
that
a
looks
catch.
like a catch to me, but I don't know that you'll have enough evidence to overturn it if you just, there you go. Bill O'Brien decides he thinks it's a catch.
The red flag is out for Bill O'Brien, who's 1 for 4 this season on challenges.
Houston is challenging the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass.
So Walt Coleman and his crew will take a look. 11:04 to go, third quarter. Will it be a catch? Find out when we come back.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands, incomplete pass. It'll be second down. Houston will be charged with their first team timeout.
Well, Bill O'Brien fired up about that call. He had a nickname back in his New England days. They used to call him Teapot because, yeah, the pot, it gets to exploding. He gets hot. In fact, they actually had a teapot in the quarterback's room in New England, and they would write his teapot incidents on the pot. This qualifies as a teapot right here.
He doesn't like to talk about it either. It was kind of embarrassing for him, but I think he's right. That was a catch, I believe, but we did. There was no way to prove it. We couldn't overturn the call.
O'Brien is hot. It's 2nd and 10. Keenum sets up the screen to Foster.
Get on it. Yeah, that was close to being lateral.
Very close. Instead ruled incomplete. And it's 3rd down and 10. Now, when the Texans had 3rd down on their first drive of this half, it was a very conservative play call on 3rd down. They ran the football with Foster. Let's see what they do here on 3rd and 10.
Again, you got to be really careful here if you're Case Keenum. And even though this 3rd down defense statistically is not one of the best in the league this year, they are very, very complex and cause a lot of problems.
With 1 on the play clock, Keenum takes the snap. Dumerville coming, and he hits Keenum. Ball is out, still loose. And the Ravens recover.
They might have lateraled again. It might be now. I don't know who's on top of it.
They tried to lateral it once again.
It was Elvis Dumerville who came off and crunched Keenum, and it's Baltimore football.
That is what you got to be careful about here on 3rd and long against a team that brings it like Baltimore. You're worried about a turnover, especially with a quarterback who's not really familiar with everything that's going on.
And these 2 first series of the second half with the punt play, that looks like a punt pass to me. It looks like
we got to determine.
And they'll review this because it is ruled a turnover. And then right here you see Suggs try and lateral it, and that's lucky for the Ravens. If a Texan recovers it after Suggs laterals it, it's 1st down, Texans.
All turnovers subject to review. They'll take a closer look at this one. Dumerville having a big season. Will this play stand?
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is reversed to incomplete forward pass. It'll be 4th and 10 at the 20. Please reset the clock to 10:57, please.
So they wiped out the turnover. We go back to New York, check in with our officiating expert, Mike Carey. Did they get it right here, Mike?
They got it right here. All that melee after the ball was loose is for naught, because as you'll see, the pass is incomplete. His hand is coming forward with complete control. Incomplete pass is the proper call. Reversed well in replay.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. Call goes in favor of the Texans as now Houston has to punt, and instead of Baltimore starting that drive in the red zone, Jacoby Jones with the fair catch at the 29-yard line. So the Baltimore Ravens down 16-0 at the half. Again, they need to win their final 2 games, and they are in. Can also get in if they win today, and both the Steelers and Bengals, who play tomorrow night, lose. A lot on the line for John Harbaugh and the Ravens. Texans still mathematically alive as well at 7-7.
This is a huge drive here for both teams. Momentum swinging toward Baltimore at this point.
Flacco intercepted by Jackson. His second today. Jackson reverses field at the 25, and Jackson tackled at the 20-yard line. That is Joe Flacco's third interception today.
Well, the receiver fell straight to the ground.
Yeah, the question, I want to see whether Joe Flacco had time to pull this back or not, or if the ball was in the air before Torrey Smith fell down. Here, Torrey Smith at the bottom of your screen. Flacco, that's on Torrey Smith. Flacco's throwing that ball on time where he's thinking Torrey Smith is going to be, and he just completely loses his feet right there. I mean, that, as a quarterback, you're trusting that your receiver is going to get to that football.
Bill O'Brien all pumped up as the Texans will start another drive in the Baltimore red zone. It's 1st and 10 from the 19-yard line. Arian Foster bounces it outside. Still going. Foster inside the 15. Great second and third effort by Arian Foster.
Well, this is what he does so well. He bounces it out. You know he runs up inside with that zone read scheme. Here he does the jump cut to the outside, and then right there goes further outside to get to the edge of the defense, just outruns, even though he looks like he's not running that fast, covers a lot of ground and gets to the edge.
Little tempo here for the Texans. They go back to Foster, and he gets to the 10-yard line. It'll be 3rd and short for Houston.
The thing that's amazing about Arian Foster is he makes those little moves look so easy. I mean, it's completely effortless for him to make somebody just grab nothing but air.
Well, you forget he's 6'1", 227. I mean, he's a big back. And when he does that, it really affects the defense because you really feel like you got a man up to tackle a guy.
3rd down and 1. Keenum fires left to Hopkins. 1st down and more. Hopkins inside the 5. Lost the football out of bounds, but it will stay with the Texans. It's 1st and goal.
He lost a couple yards by the fumble out of bounds. The ball goes where the ball crossed the sideline, and it gets knocked back, so it's going to go back to the 4-yard line.
Again, tempo by the Texans. Keenum keeps it himself and maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Keenum turned around to hand that to Foster, and Foster was 3 yards past him. That's just a lack of familiarity on the ball exchange. Keenum took a bad angle to try and catch up to Foster.
Well, you think it only applies to the passing game when you don't get the reps and you're so new to the situation, but the running tracks the running backs take to get to their point. It's very hard to learn the footwork as a quarterback if you haven't been doing it on a daily basis.
That happened twice last week with Savage and Foster having a miscommunication. Now Foster goes out wide to the top of your screen.
Man coverage.
Keenum rolls right, fires, it's caught by Andre Johnson, and the tackle made at the 2-yard line. Lardarius Webb on the stop.
Webb really, as a 6-year veteran, we spoke to him yesterday. He's the elder statesman for a group of guys that a lot of them haven't been around the Ravens. And Lardarius said most of his days and weeks are spent meeting and teaching the same basic elements of their defensive secondary to new guys every week. He's really had to be patient with the young guys, he calls them his little ones, that he's trying to guide through the precarious nature of their defensive secondary's condition.
3rd and goal. J.J. Watt is on the sideline here on 3rd and goal. Not in for this goal line set. Keenum fires low, incomplete, and a flag comes in from the back of the end zone.
You get the feeling sometimes some of these guys throw these just for the express purpose of drawing a penalty.
They're calling a pick.
On the Texans.
On the Texans.
Pass interference, number 13, offense. Penalties decline.
No doubt.
4th down.
You're trying to run you're going to see right here the pick to try and free Andre Johnson on the pick coming underneath right there. You know, not a whole lot of contact, but there definitely was contact. The receiver's job there that's trying to spring the other one is to just make that defender avoid.
Yeah, he's trying to half-heartedly act like he's getting out of the way, but he's really not trying to get out of the way.
Right.
And that's why the official called that he didn't make a big enough effort to get out of the way of the defender. He's not allowed to go out there and get in the defender's way.
A 20-yard field goal attempt for Bullock. He's 3 for 3 so far today and make him 4 out of 4. But again, Houston not able to take advantage off good field position in the red zone. They settle for 3 and it's a 19-7 game. Joe Flacco with 3 interceptions. First time he's done that in the game since the season finale last year against Cincinnati. And it's been a long day for Flacco. A.J. Boye with a pick and Kareem Jackson with 2 off Flacco.
You know, and the first 2 were poor decisions by Joe Flacco in the first half. I think he's looked more comfortable in the second half, without a doubt. He's made some nice throws, but the numbers speak for themselves. I mean, Torrey Smith slips that one time. Fortunately for the Ravens, the defense has been able to step up and hold the Texans to field goals 4 out of the 5 times.
And the other thing about this Ravens offense is Justin Forsett has just not gotten going again. He was held to 3 yards per carry last week against Jacksonville, his lowest of the season. And so far today, Forsett with just 9 carries for 17 yards, putting even more pressure on Joe Flacco without a running game.
Well, plus the defensive front of the Texans. I mean, you can say what you want about the Texans, the state of their roster and their quarterback problems. They've got no issues on their defensive side. They're a good defense, and they're playing like it today.
They really are. You talked about it earlier, Steve Tasker. They are whipping the Ravens up front defensively, without a doubt.
Jacoby Jones will let this one go, and the Ravens will start at the 20-yard line.
But it is going to come down to that guy right there, Joe Flacco. Anybody saw the San Diego Chargers game last night? Phillip Rivers, great example. 3 interceptions. He had a chance to bring his team back late in the ballgame. They were down 14. What happened? He stepped up with the game on the line and made it happen. That's what John Harbaugh expects out of Flacco.
And James Hurst is checked in at right tackle. Rick Wagner went off with an injury. Still awaiting official word on that, but the backup tackle is in as Flacco finds Crockett Gilmore, the rookie out of Colorado State.
Well, Steve Berline, you and I both believe, I mean, right now you've got to do a big reset and take a deep breath if you're the Ravens. You got to get Joe Flacco on track with quick passes like the one you just saw. Look for him to throw some screens, get the ball out of his hand, make some completions. He's only completed a handful of passes all day. You got to change that.
And Hurst is matched up with J.J. Watt. So Watt lining up over the backup tackle. Forsett to the, check it, it's Pierce.
Holding, number 74, offense, 10-yard penalty.
Well,
that's what we just said. They line up Watt over the backup tackle, and boom, a holding call on Hurst.
Not only a backup tackle, he's right here. He's an undrafted free agent rookie out of North Carolina. Hurst, it was like he wasn't even there, and he was just hanging on for dear life.
He was doing an imitation of a turnstile right there, and that's not the way to block J.J. Watt.
I think he's going to see a lot of J.J. J.J. Watt's over there waiting for him right now.
Justin Forsett back in at running back to replace Bernard Pierce on 2nd and 11, 7:15 to go, 3rd quarter. Crowd comes to life here in Houston. Safety blitz coming. Flacco gets rid of it to Torrey Smith. And Smith is dragged out of bounds by Jonathan Joseph at the 25-yard line.
You called it right, Andrew. That was a safety blitz. Joe Flacco right there read it perfectly. Watt coming off the edge. There were a lot of good reasons to get that ball out quick. He had to against the blitz. If he didn't, he would have got pounded by J.J. Watt. But a nice pickup right there, giving him a 3rd and 3.
Texans like to move Watt around on the line. They're not going to move him off Hurst right now. No. He's matched up there on this big 3rd down and 3. Flacco to Marlon Brown for a Baltimore 1st down. First catch today by Brown, who had a season-high 5 catches against the Jaguars last week.
And now you're seeing the ball come out very quick, and it's a good idea, and it helps Joe Flacco get the 1st down. It keeps the offense on the field, but sooner or later, you're going to have to hold on to the football because the defensive backs will start squatting on those routes and jumping them, and you're going to throw your 4th interception.
But this is the first time we've seen some rhythm out of this passing game. You're exactly right.
Play action. Flacco with time, dumps it off to Forsett, and he is thrown back by Brooks Reed. The 4th-year man out of Arizona snuffed that one out.
This is a great example right here. This is what Baltimore makes their money on. The hard play action, and you're going to see Joe Flacco when he sets. He's trying to make a big play up the field, but super. Look at right here, and at the top of the play, both receivers up the field are covered very well. Nowhere to go except this check down, and that's covered well as well.
A loss of 2 on the play. Flacco 4-4 on this drive, but all short passes. Looking to the air again, in trouble, gets away. Now fires one deep and incomplete.
Torrey Smith came up lame, and that looks like a cramp to me.
Smith has been bothered by a right knee injury. Came in with just 2 catches in his last 2 games. And he pulls up on that one. So they work on Smith on the sideline, and it's 3rd down and 12. Baltimore today 1 out of 9 on 3rd downs.
You got to make a play here. You got to go after, be aggressive, make something happen.
Blitz coming. Flacco just tosses one up, and it's incomplete. The pressure came. Flacco just bailed out. And once again, Baltimore sends out its punt unit.
You're right, Andrew. It was an all-out blitz again, right up the gut. Romeo Crennel, the defensive coordinator for the Houston Texans, is saying, you know, I'm smelling blood. I'm sensing blood. We're going to keep coming until they show they can pick up this pressure. So far, Baltimore hasn't been able to capitalize.
8th punt by Sam Cook today. The team record is 10. Keyshawn Martin back deep. Oh, this is a low kick. Cook just rifles one out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Now some more extracurricular activity. We saw a brawl in the Titans-Jets game a week ago here on CBS, and a little more pushing and shoving at the end of this punt.
And you'd be hard-pressed to find a worse-looking punt than this in the NFL this year. This one came out helicoptered, hard right to left from a right-footed punter.
I think not only that, I think I've never seen an uglier punt than that.
Well, it's a
35-yard punt by Cook.
That's the way they're dropping it these days.
Well, it looked like it was going to be an Aussie kick, but I don't think that was it looked like he changed his mind mid-drop.
Bad time to change your mind.
Oof.
So the Texans take over at their own 30 with 4:57 to go, 3rd quarter. Keenum to his tight end Griffin, and the catch is made at the 36-yard line. Darrell Smith with the tackle for the Ravens. And now Case Keenum wants to run a little no huddle again. We spoke with him and Bill O'Brien about this yesterday in our meetings, and they both said that Keenum was very comfortable running the no-tempo offense. They didn't have to dial back much in terms of the playbook since Keenum was here in the spring and summer in this Bill O'Brien offense. Keenum again to the air, caught by Hopkins for a 1st down.
Well, as we said at the open, and we talked about all through the first half, the one thing that the Ravens are vulnerable in is their secondary. They've got an entirely new group of guys, and they have had almost week to week over the past month. And it's one thing that you wondered whether the Texans could take advantage of.
Quick pass to Hopkins again, trying to get him in some space. Hopkins dives up towards midfield. Good effort there by the 2nd-year man out of Clemson.
Well, there was a lot of question whether Hopkins was going to be able to play today. He had to have a workout before the game to convince Bill O'Brien and the training staff that he could do it. He's showing he's still got some juice out there, making some plays like he always does.
A gain of 9. It's 2nd and 1. Keenum keeps it himself, and he dives forward for the 1st down. Keenum had a great line yesterday in terms of relearning this offense. He said it's almost as if you take a Spanish class in high school for a year, and then you don't talk Spanish for 4 months, you forget everything. But then when you come back 4 months later, you start to hear words again, and the language comes back to you. And that's what he said he felt like this week in relearning the Texans offense. Fedorowicz Lewis makes the catch, bounces off a tackler inside the 40-yard line. An update in New York. Here's JB.
All right, coming up next here on CBS, it'll be Andrew Luck and the Colts going against the Dallas Cowboys. Colts clinched their second straight division title last week, going against Tony Romo and the Cowboys. Cowboys with a chance to clinch the East. It's coming up next here on CBS.
Can't wait for that one. Thanks so much, JB. A huge game in the playoff landscape in both the AFC and the NFC. And right now, the Ravens just focused on trying to come back in this game. They trail 19-7.
Houston has another 3rd and short here. They're making the positive yards on 1st and 2nd down on this drive, giving themselves the opportunity with the new quarterback to not ask him to try and make a play.
Keenum is 4 for 4 on this drive for 28 yards. They give it to Alfred Blue, and he's got the first down.
Yeah, this is smart football by the Texans. And when they're getting such good production off throwing it on 1st down, getting down to a 2nd and shorter, then a 3rd and even shorter, just get the 1st down and keep your offense on the field. And it's just more of a bad thing as far as John Harbaugh is concerned. They can't get their offense off the field.
Close to 28 minutes in time of possession for Houston so far in this game. It's 1st and 10. Keenum fires left to Hopkins. He's got another catch. Well, if you thought that Arian Foster would be the workhorse here, guess again. Case Keenum has thrown the football 39 times today. His career high is 43 attempts.
Don't forget, Case Keenum was 0-8 as a starter for the Texans a year ago, with Gary Kubiak as the head coach.
Keeps this one himself, and he's got the 1st down.
And he's playing as well as Bill O'Brien could ever have expected him to play at this point. He's thrown 39 times, but he's only got 185 yards. So they're not throwing the ball. They're not completing a lot of plays up the field, but he's not making the big mistakes.
And now Keenum wants to huddle up as we approach 1 minute to go in the 3rd quarter. Time is on Houston's side with the 12-point lead and driving. Foster, following his blocks, gets inside the 20 and down to the 17-yard line.
Well, the Texans are just making hay on 1st down right now. They're getting into 2nd and short, 3rd and even shorter. They're just converting 1st downs, and right now, even running tempo, it looks like the Baltimore Ravens are just bewildered as to how to stop them.
Keep in mind, we just showed the time of possession. This Ravens defense has been on the field for a long time today as they throw down Foster.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I think this Ravens defense is getting kind of worn out. They've been on the field a lot today.
And it's the perfect time to run tempo when you do that. If they're gassed, keep them on the field and don't give them a chance to stand there and catch their breath.
That is the end of the 3rd quarter, but there's an injured Texan down on the field. Actually, it's a Raven. It's Jernigan, the rookie out of Florida State. Clock is stopped with 9 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Jernigan making his 2nd start today.
We spoke to John Harbaugh a couple of weeks ago when Haloti Ngata was suspended. He said, we're really excited about seeing Timmy Jernigan play in his place. We thought it was just coach speak. And then a couple of weeks later, the guy's got a couple of sacks and really is a dynamite interior defensive lineman on a team that obviously seems to be very deep in them.
Jernigan able to walk off, which is a good sign for the Ravens. He's been filling in for the suspended Haloti Ngata, who is suspended for the rest of the regular season. Now the clock will run, and now we've reached the end of the 3rd quarter. Does Joe Flacco have a 4th quarter comeback in him? The Ravens down by 12. The 4th quarter in Houston, and the Texans have a 19-7 lead. With the Steves, Berline, and Tasker, and Lewis Johnson down on the sideline, our entire CBS crew, I'm Andrew Catalan, and this quarter starts with a big 3rd down and 3 for the Texans. Baltimore trying to force another field goal attempt. There's movement on the line, and now flags fly in.
False start, number 70, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
That's on Jeff Adams.
Yeah, they had put Jeff Adams in there as an extra blocking tight. He was playing the tight end right here on the left side, the tight end position. And he just jumps a little bit too early. I think if he would have held his poise, Terrell Suggs and some of his teammates were going to try and anticipate that snap count.
So 3rd and 3 turns into 3rd down and 8 for Houston. Keenum looking deep for Hopkins, and he was out of bounds. So once again, we'll see Randy Bullock, who's already 4 for 4 on field goals today.
Well, Hopkins is a big receiver on the outside. He's a guy that you like to give him a chance to get up and get that ball. 6'1", 215. Case Keenum, if he keeps that ball in bounds, doesn't pull him out of bounds like that, you might have a chance to make a play. He's got the great ability to judge and adjust that ball in the air.
A 39-yard field goal attempt for Bullock. This one on the way and good. Bullock now 5 out of 5, but still a 2-possession game here in Houston. Case Keenum, the 4th quarterback this year for the Houston Texans. A week ago, he was hunting deer when his agent called and said, hey, the Texans want you. The next morning on a flight here to Houston, and now as the starting quarterback, has a 22-7 lead over the Baltimore Ravens. What a story. Will it have a happy ending? We will find out as the Ravens still just down 2 possessions. It's a 15-point game, and for an injury update on the Baltimore side, we go down to Lewis Johnson.
Yeah, Andrew, the Baltimore medical staff has been quite busy in this game on the far side. First wide receiver Torrey Smith, who came off the field with cramps in his right calf, had quite a bit of ice and massage going back on the field now. The tackle Rick Wagner left the field on a cart. They were looking at his left foot, and I understand he is still inside the locker room. No update on him. And then Timmy Jernigan, who was down for just a moment. I was told he caught a knee in the groin, but he is okay to play.
All right, Lewis, and you can hear it. J.J. Watt's favorite song on here again. Turned down for Watt, as the fans say, and that pumped him up on 1st and 10. Flacco firing deep, and it's incomplete. Torrey Smith, the intended target. A.J. Boye, stride for stride. Now there's a flag down, and holding is going to be the call against the Ravens.
Holding, number 72, offense. 10-yard penalty, still 1st down.
That's on Osemele, the 3rd-year man out of Iowa State.
Yep, right here. Let's see what happens. Yeah, nice little swim move by Jarrett Crick. Gave him the hard move up the field outside and then swam back underneath him.
5 penalties for 46 yards against the Ravens, and now they're backed up to their own 10-yard line. Flacco, and that pass is caught along the sideline by Jacoby Jones. A gain of 11 by the former Texan, who still lives here in Houston.
That might have been Joe Flacco's best throw of the day right there. On rhythm, he ripped that ball like few guys can do in the NFL, on the money and a tight coverage to Jacoby Jones.
Green Bay Packers just won, beating Tampa Bay, so the Pack have clinched a playoff spot here. Week 16. Coming right down to the wire. 2nd down and 9. Watt coming, Flacco crunched, and a flag is down.
To the
and
head.
That'd be a late hit on Cushing.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 56 defense. High hit on the quarterback. 15 yards, 1st down.
All right, this is Cushing tries to get his hand up high, but Watt comes up, knocks that away, and oh yeah, Cushing launches right towards his helmet, and that's an easy call, and that's gonna cost him some cash. That's right up to the chops.
He knew it.
He knew it right away.
Yeah, he knew it right away.
That's a huge penalty against the Texans, as Baltimore now has a 1st down at the 31-yard line. Delayed handoff to Forsett, and gets a couple of yards on the play. Once again, tough sledding today for Justin Forsett. He only had 48 yards rushing against the Jaguars last week. And right now, he's got 10 carries for 19 yards.
I'll tell you what. You watch J.J. Watt play in and play out. He just does not quit. He almost ripped that ball out of there in that play.
Flacco over the middle, off the hands of Owen Daniels and incomplete. Daniels does not have a catch today in his return to Houston.
I really think that Romeo Crennel is winning this chess match today. I don't think that the Ravens offensively have been able to really figure out what he's doing. That says a lot because I know how good a coordinator Gary Kubiak is, what a great offensive mind he has. It just seems like Joe Flacco can't figure out who to go to with that football.
Ravens' longest play today is 11 yards. This is 3rd down and 8. Flacco, and that pass is caught for a first down. Great grab by Steve Smith, a gain of 12.
Yeah, this is just a great comeback with a lot of room out there. He throws to the wide side of the football field. Smith comes out, and this right there is why Steve Smith is such a good player. He comes out, stops hard, comes out of that break right back down the stem, and then attacks and spears the ball. Solid catch.
Flacco right back to Smith, and he is spun down by Darryl Morris. You get the sense here the Ravens are kind of giving up on the run game a little bit with Forsett. Such tough sledding. Flacco keeping it moving through the air right now.
Well, they give him a chance every once in a while to keep the defense honest, but it's been no-go in the run game for the Ravens, and I think they're only doing it once in a while just to make sure the Texans don't forget about it.
Flacco taking a shot deep to Brown, incomplete. Coverage on the play by Jonathan Joseph.
I think you're right. I mean, they will hand the football off to Forsett when they get a look, or they may call a couple of plays, but Joe Flacco is going to have to win this game. And the receivers on the outside, they're going to have to figure out a way to protect him. They have not been able to do that yet today, and they still have to solve that. And they got the big penalty on Cushing to extend this drive and give them the big first down, but they still are going to have to do some more things offensively to win this game. They have not played well enough to this point.
Ravens have averaged 3rd and 9 today. This is a 3rd and 5, possibly 4-down territory at this point in the game. Flacco gets rid of it just in time, but it's through the hands of Marlon Brown. It was J.J. Watt coming hard against Joe Flacco, and it's 4th down.
You got to give more help to James Hurst, your right tackle, rookie undrafted free agent. You cannot expect him to be one-on-one on J.J. Watt. John Harbaugh told us they were going to have 2 guys account for him all day. It has not happened.
And here it is. The Ravens are going to go for it on 4th down. 60% this season on 4th downs. That's tied for 5th in the NFL. And Houston calls timeout. Bill O'Brien ran down the sideline to call a timeout. With 12:30 to go, the clock is stopped. Gives us a chance to break down this 4th down play. Do you like John Harbaugh going for it here?
I like it a lot. I think it's the right call for sure. I'm not sure that I like the way they set up that last play. Again, you were going to leave your right tackle, James Hurst, one-on-one, no tight end or running back lined up over there to kind of give J.J. Watt something else to think about. If he knows he's going against an undrafted rookie one-on-one backup, he's going to lick his chops and bring it every single time. I think you got to give Joe Flacco a little more security.
Yeah, I think that's, and we talked to a lot of teams who have played the Texans, and job one at the beginning of every offensive meeting as you put in the game plan is to make sure you're protecting your quarterback with J.J. Watt on the field every time. That's job one, and then everything else goes from there. So if you line up and you think you may not have that taken care of, you got to reset. You got to give a chip. You got to give some help. You got to make sure that that's your job one is taken care of, and then Joe Flacco can call the play and find the open guy.
4th down and 5. Blitz coming. Flacco gets rid of it quickly. Incomplete. Was trying to find Torrey Smith. A.J. Boye got a hand on that one. And once again, Romeo Crennel dialed up a big blitz. The Texans are getting the ball back as Baltimore cannot convert on 4th down. Back in Houston, been a long day for Joe Flacco and Gary Kubiak. They trail 22-7. Now, during that timeout, we were informed that on the 4th down play, it was actually Baltimore that got charged with the timeout. Bill O'Brien was running down the sideline screaming timeout, timeout, but they say that Harbaugh and the Ravens called a timeout first. So now Baltimore only has 2 timeouts remaining with 12:26 to go. Case Keenum and the Texans back on offense. Arian Foster gets maybe a yard on the play. Darian Stewart leading the charge on defense for the Ravens. That could be a big timeout that comes back in this game. Something to keep an eye on moving forward. Meanwhile, the Ravens still under 100 yards of total offense. They have just 93 as the Texans line up in a wildcat. Direct snap to Arian Foster. And he will keep this one across midfield. Arian Foster down the sideline at the 25. And Foster out of bounds at the 20. A gain of 34.
One of the things that this Wildcat does, it leaves you a man up on protection and ability to run the football. The quarterback's not back there, but they don't bring an extra player in. So everybody has an assignment to get a hat on a hat, so everybody has a blocker. So Arian Foster, and you see there what patience he showed in his ability to stop, wait for the blocks and the interference to catch up with him and then break it through the gap. That Wildcat, the one thing about it is it leaves your offensive backfield with the extra blocker without a quarterback taking a man away from your protection.
Foster gets a break here on 1st and 10. The give is to Alfred Blue. The fans chant Blue, the 6th-round pick out of LSU. That was the pick that Houston acquired in the Matt Schaub trade. That's worked out quite well for the Texans as Blue has had a good season as Foster's backup.
If I'm Bill O'Brien, though, now I'm starting to milk that clock right now. That shotgun snap to the Wildcat snap to Arian Foster was snapped with 20 seconds on the play clock. The last snap of Case Keenum was snapped with too much time as well. They've got to start using that clock.
Five seconds on the play clock here. Now Keenum, there's motion, and that's going to be offside against Terrell Suggs. Pass is caught at the 16-yard line.
Offside, number 55. Defense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Well, they've done it all day. They've really tried to get a jump on the snap count. Suggs just gets there a step early, and it's an easy call.
So the ball up to the 15-yard line now for the Texans. 10.5 minutes to go. Houston trying to keep its playoff hopes alive. A 7-7 record, and they host Jacksonville next week. Again, Keenum using up the play clock. Keenum gets rid of it, and that pass is incomplete. He was attempting to connect with the fullback, the rookie Jay Prosch. Here's a look at the AFC playoff picture, and you see Baltimore at 9-5 as the day started, the number 6 seed in the AFC playoffs. Keep in mind, San Diego came back a couple of weeks ago with that wild win to beat Baltimore, and the Chargers with that win last night at 9-6. So the Ravens by no means eliminated with a loss today, but it becomes a lot harder for Baltimore if they cannot come back and beat this Texans team. It's 3rd down and 5. Keenum over the middle, incomplete. And once again, we're going to see our good friend Randy Bullock, who's already made 5 field goals today. That's a career high for Bullock.
But the key on this one, Andrew, if Bullock makes this kick, it becomes a 3-score game now, which is obviously a huge difference with the less than 10 minutes remaining in this 4th quarter.
No Texans kicker has ever made 6 field goals in a game. It's a 33-yard attempt for Randy Bullock. And he's good again. Randy Bullock is 6 out of 6. And the Texans increase their lead. It's 25-7. 9:55 to go in the fourth quarter. Long game because there's been a lot of incompletions. Joe Flacco 11 out of 35. Keenum 20 for 42.
Yeah, it's amazing. Both quarterbacks under 50%. Joe Flacco barely above 30%. You don't see that very often in an NFL football game.
Jacoby Jones will run this one out of his own end zone. Already has a 45-yard punt return today. And he takes this kick out to the 29-yard line with 9:48 to go in the fourth quarter. Case Keenum starting in his first game of the season back with the Texans. And he's had a pretty good day connecting with Andre Johnson, who now has 1,000 career receptions. Meanwhile, Joe Flacco with 3 interceptions today, his first 3-interception game of the season. And a little trickery by the Texans in the red zone late first half. Arian Foster with a touchdown pass, the first pass of his NFL career. And Randy Bullock making fantasy leaguers proud with his 6 out of 6 today. Kicking field goals, 1st and 10. Flacco to Forsett. Quiet day for Forsett. It's through Swearinger and then thrown down at the 27-yard line.
The Ravens now have to have some urgency. They've got to be going up tempo, almost in the complete no-huddle 2-minute type of mode with 3 scores. They need 3 scores to get back in this ball game.
Watt coming. Watt has Flacco, who just flicks it, and the pass is caught. That is Forsett. He was able to make the grab as Watt was bearing down on Joe Flacco.
And Watt comes off the edge here, ends up losing his helmet, as you saw a moment there. But it's just one-on-one once again with Hurst, and that's just a mismatch. Watt is going to get home a majority of the snaps if you put one guy on him. Yanda can't get back to help out. And if I'm Hurst, I've got to get off the line fast enough to make him go up and under. And you can see there now he's got a little bloody nose working. We'll see if he picks it up even further now that he smells blood.
Ravens 2 for 12 on 3rd downs. Watt coming again. Flacco gets rid of it, and it's caught by Owen Daniels. His first catch today, and it goes for a 1st down.
Well, Romeo Crennel is making a statement. He is bringing people on every single play. That play right there, Brian Cushing was coming along. J.J. Watt, it's baffling to me that Baltimore is still trying to block J.J. Watt one-on-one when we've proven he can't do that.
J.J. Watt known for that cut on his nose, and how about this? Some room finally on the ground, and it's Fitzgerald Toussaint, the undrafted rookie out of Michigan who was promoted off the practice squad last week. It's because Taliaferro went on injured reserve, and now J.J. Watt is coming out, and that's a football player right there, folks. That 12-yard run by Toussaint, the longest play today by the Ravens. Flacco back to the air, dumps it down to Toussaint across midfield into Houston territory.
As you can see now, even at the beginning of this drive, the body language and the sense of urgency just wasn't there. But now they've got a couple of 1st downs. Even Joe Flacco, the offensive line, they're addressing the ball a little faster. Now they feel like they're having some success and picking up the pace, but it's been a really rough day thanks to this Texan defense for this Baltimore offense.
Flag is down. They blow this one dead. A false start against the Ravens. And Watt is coming back out onto the field.
False start, number 11, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
To your point, though, Steve Tasker, I think that the Texans defense, Romeo Crennel in particular, has probably told his team, hey, keep the ball in front of you. Let them have all those little 4- and 5-yard completions. Let them use up 4 minutes to move the ball down the field. And we'll see if they can get it in the end zone. You just don't want to give the big chunks.
Yeah, they've got to get the end zone twice and get a field goal on top of that. So that's asking a lot with 7 minutes and counting. If you just make them go the long way, you're ahead of the game.
2nd down and 10. Jacoby Jones, midfield, some room to run. Nice job by his blockers, led by Owen Daniels, and another Baltimore 1st down.
Now this play came up real nice. A quick screen, bubble screen to the outside. Little play action to get it to one of your best playmakers, Jacoby Jones. Not a real polished receiver, but you get him the ball in space on a quick little screen like that, he can do some damage.
6:20 to go and counting. Watt coming, Flacco fires, incomplete. And now a flag comes in. Back by Joe Flacco.
Yeah, J.J. Watt.
Personal foul. Rubbing the passer, number 99, defense. Late hit. 15 yards. First down.
Yeah, well after the play, J.J. Watt knows better. You'll see he ran in and put his head in Joe Flacco's back well after Joe Flacco let go of the ball.
So a costly penalty on the Texans moves Baltimore all the way down to the 20-yard line. 5th personal foul this season on J.J. Watt, the 2nd most in the NFL. So an automatic first down for the Ravens. Flacco out of the shotgun on 1st and 10. Flacco tosses one, end zone, incomplete. In the direction of Torrey Smith, and once again Jonathan Joseph on the coverage for Houston.
Interestingly enough, that was the first time this series, or one of the few times they only rushed 4. And they dropped everybody off into coverage. Romeo Crennel not giving Joe Flacco even a chance to take it easy and understand there's pressure coming. They crossed him up and dropped everybody into coverage. We've seen pressure after pressure after pressure, and now Romeo Crennel throws the curveball, and Flacco throws it out of the end zone.
Flacco incomplete. And it's 3rd down for Baltimore.
We spoke to J.J. Watt yesterday. He told us, it's my idea to give 100% every single play, because you watch these games and you never know when the ball is going to bounce your way or when that one play that you're going to have makes the entire difference in the game. And that's the way he plays. You can see it as the guy just, he leaves it out there every play. What an example for young players and young people to watch. I mean, the guy has one speed.
His conditioning, both physically and mentally, what he expects out of himself, the way he trains in the offseason and during the season. What did he tell us yesterday? His body fat percentage was, for a man, 290 pounds. What was it?
8%.
8% body fat at 290 pounds. It's like he's wearing one of those Superman costumes with the built-in abs. When you walk in the
so
room.
you kind of get an idea, like, what do you do? And he says, well, in the offseason, I work out twice a day, 5 days a week. And I go, what do you do? He goes, yeah, lifting, conditioning, speed work, explosion, agility. And he goes, you got to be willing to sacrifice that stuff.
All right, Eugene Monroe, the left tackle, goes off with an injury. So Baltimore already without its right tackle, Rick Wagner, and now the left tackle, Monroe, is out. Hurst goes over to the left side. It's 3rd down and 10. Flacco gets rid of it quickly to Torrey Smith. Slips a tackle. Smith with room. Inside the 5. Dives. Touchdown! And the Ravens are not done just yet.
Well, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Romeo Crennel right there. He's been blitzing all day. We see John Harbaugh's going for the 2 right now.
J.J. Watt was coming, and Flacco threw it right over him.
It was the perfect play call by Gary Kubiak. They were coming with a blitz, a lot of pressure. Flacco gets that ball out quick. You got Lyman out in front blocking for Torrey Smith. Very well executed. Finally, something comes up right for the Ravens.
And Ravens are keeping the offense out there to go for 2. They are 1 for 3 on 2-point conversions this year.
Yeah, this could make it a 10-point game so that they could tie it with a touchdown and a field goal if they get this.
Flacco looking right, now wants to throw it back, and J.J. Watt brings him down. Now that actually takes the field goal out of play now for the Ravens. Instead of an 11-point game where you could go for 2 on a touchdown and kick a field goal, now they have to score 2 touchdowns. I don't know about that call by John Harbaugh, and it backfires. If John Harbaugh had kicked that extra point, it would have been an 11-point game. Instead, they now need 2 touchdowns as they do the onside kick, and it bounces nicely right into Andre Johnson's arms. Tucker now 0 for 6 on onside kicks in his career.
Got the perfect bounce for Andre Johnson here. And I agree, though, with you 100%, Andrew. I was doing the math in my head, and unfortunately I'm not quick enough to figure out all those computations. I don't have my card, but there's no doubt that the Ravens should have kicked the extra point there to put themselves within 11 points. You always put off that 2-point conversion until the second score.
Well, simply put, they now need 2 touchdowns to come back.
Right,
if they kicked the extra point, they'd have had a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and a field goal. And once again, Houston in the Wildcat, Baltimore with 2 timeouts remaining. Foster, not much room to run. He gets back to the original line of scrimmage. We go down to the field and check in with Lewis Johnson.
Yeah, you can see J.J. Watt there has got a little bit of blood under his left nostril. It looked like a nosebleed earlier. We saw the blood coming down his face, but there's actually a laceration, a cut under his left nostril. That's what they're trying to coagulate, but Watt hanging in there with that.
It's funny, Lewis, as J.J. Watt told us, he's seen the movie Mighty Ducks 650 times in his life. But until this summer, J.J. Watt had never seen the Rocky movies. He's got a little Balboa in him today with that cut underneath his nose.
Cut me, Mick.
A loss of 1 on that play for Foster, 2nd and 11. They go back to the ground. This is Alfred Blue. Again, the Ravens run defense right there at the line of scrimmage to meet the rookie Blue. 5 minutes to go. It'll be 3rd down and 12 for the Texans.
Brings up 3rd down and 12 for the Texans.
John Harbaugh hoping his team gets the ball back here, and again still 2 timeouts, and again a lot more to come here on CBS with the Cowboys hosting the Colts. A Dallas win means that the Cowboys are NFC East champions. Some of you will also see Buffalo take on Oakland. 3rd and 12 from midfield. 3 on the play clock. They're going to keep it safe here. Just give it to Foster, and the Ravens defense does their job. They force a punt, and John Harbaugh has called the timeout. So he has just 1 remaining with 4:20 on the clock. Arian Foster has 95 yards rushing today. The Ravens have not allowed a 100-yard rusher since October of last year. Eddie Lacy went over 100. That's 24 straight games without allowing a 100-yard rusher. Foster right on the doorstep at 95.
Well, the Texans defense is going to have to come back on the field and make another stop and force Joe Flacco and the Ravens. You know there'll be 4-down territory, and that'll be a consideration in play selection.
Leckler punts it away. Jacoby Jones lets it bounce at the 5. Takes a Texans bounce, and they down it at the 1. Great play special teams-wise for the Houston Texans. So Flacco and the Ravens will have to go 99 yards. Don't forget, Saturday, CBS Sports rings in the bowl season with 2 high-octane scoring machines as the Arizona State Sun Devils tangle with the Duke Blue Devils in the Sun Bowl. There's the backup quarterback for Houston, Thad Lewis, who is a Duke graduate. There was some talk this week that he would be the starter, but instead Bill O'Brien decided to go with Case Keenum just because Keenum had all that time in the Houston system in the spring and summer, while Lewis has only been with the team for 3 weeks. They spot the ball at the 2. 1st and 10. Flacco out of his own end zone gets rid of it to Torrey Smith at the 5, and he's tackled right there. Again, just 1 timeout for the Ravens.
I can't say, you can't say enough about what the job this defense has done. They have not given up any chunk plays all day long to the Baltimore Ravens. Joe Flacco has not completed anything up the field at all the whole day.
Longest Baltimore play is 20 yards. That was the touchdown to Torrey Smith. 2nd and 7. Flacco fires and it's caught. That's Torrey Smith with a 1st down out to the 25-yard line. And now Joe Flacco and the Ravens have to go no huddle.
This is going to be a spot where Joe Flacco and his experience in this offense, he's got Torrey Smith having to come off the field, who's already been off with cramps, and they're going to have to run all their receivers through. Toughest part of the game for the receivers, up and down the field, running route after route after route.
Flacco to Steve Smith, and he makes the catch at the 40. Another Baltimore first down. They keep it in the middle of the field. So the clock still rolling here, and Baltimore hurrying to the line as we approach 3 minutes to go. You can see the sun creeping through some of the glass windows here at NRG Stadium. Flacco nowhere to go. Still has time, and now just throws it away.
Yeah, for the first time, now it seems to be in this series, Romeo Crennel has decided not to send extra pressure. I think when you're protecting a lead, that's a smart way to go. Give J.J. Watt, Cushing, Crick, and those guys up front a chance to get home if they can. If not, Flacco, after all the pressure he's been under today, you got to think he's going to be at least a little bit anxious to get rid of the football, although he showed great poise on this last play. Great game of cat and mouse with Romeo Crennel and Joe Flacco as to whether he's going to bring pressure or not. On this last couple of plays, no pressure, just a four-man rush.
2nd down and 10. Flacco again with time, now chased by Watt and gets rid of it, incomplete. He saw Watt coming and just had to throw. J.J. Watt just will not stop.
He never takes a soft step. You see he sprints there, gets up, and every step he takes is as hard as he can take it. He never lets up, looks around, gathers information, nothing. It's full go every step. And now he sits there, takes a knee, gets his breath behind him, and lines up and does it again. I mean, it seems simple, but you don't see many guys who are capable of doing it that way for 4 quarters of a game.
Baltimore 4 out of 14 on 3rd downs today. It's 3rd and 10. They set up the screen and incomplete. Flacco trying to get it to Toussaint, and now it's 4th down, and John Harbaugh is going to keep the offense out on the field with 2:34 to go.
You just feel like Romeo Crennel is a step ahead of the game right now today. There's not been any extended period of time where this Ravens offense has felt like they've had the pulse on the Texans defense.
And I don't have a handle. Do you think he brings pressure right here, 4th and long? I think he may. I think he may bring pressure to get him the short completion and trust his guys to go up and make a tackle short of the sticks. Give him a short completion with pressure.
Texans have called timeout.
And I think they bring pressure on them. And I'm trying to guess what Romeo Crennel's doing, just like Gary Kubiak is trying to guess. And I think you bring pressure, force him to get rid of the football very quickly on a short pass, and then trust your guys to make the tackle short of the sticks on 4th down.
Well, if he holds true to form, that's what he will do.
Let's update the playoff picture, and the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Chiefs, so Pittsburgh has clinched a playoff spot with a 10-5 record. Keep in mind, a lot of Chargers fans rooting for the Texans right now because San Diego beat Baltimore head-to-head.
And I think you got to give Mike Tomlin some love for a great year as well.
4th down and 10. Flacco has time, now in trouble, and J.J. Watt with the sack.
Well, you can say what you want to say. This is the Baltimore Ravens team that only given up 16 sacks on the season coming into this game. You know, they've been hitting Joe Flacco all day long, and you know, you're Joe Flacco, you got to have a clock in your head. I think he had time to get rid of this ball. You see him stepping up. You got to get rid of it. You can't run around. It's been proven if you run around back there with J.J. Watt, he's going to catch you. He's going to find you. You got to get rid of that ball a little bit earlier. Give one of your teammates a chance to make a play.
And Romeo Crennel, 4-man rush, no pressure, and J.J. Watt got home. Everybody dropped into coverage, and Flacco had to pull the football down, and it resulted in the sack.
8 tackles and now 17.5 sacks on the season for J.J. Watt. Baltimore has 1 timeout remaining and the 2-minute warning. Alfred Blue gets the carry to the 30-yard line. And John Harbaugh has used his final timeout with 2:21 to go. Well, J.J. Watt yesterday, just to give you a snapshot of his personality, we met with Bill O'Brien, who came in with a white towel around his neck and a whistle. And then Watt was next to meet with us, and Watt came in dressed the same way, had his chest puffed out, just like Bill O'Brien, and said, "Guys, how can I help you today?"
Yeah.
And we said, well, Coach, who's going to be a quarterback? You know I can't tell you that. We're playing this one close to the vest. And O'Brien was in the room. Everyone was laughing.
He had the mannerisms down. He had everything.
It was hysterical. He is just too much, this J.J. Watt. And he never stops. As Steve Tasker said, J.J. Watt said, you never know what play is going to be the one that turns the game around. The first play, the 10th play, the 30th play. So if you don't give your all on every single play, you might miss your chance. And the other thing he said that was very interesting, if you live your life in cliches, you'll be very successful in life, giving it your all. That's a cliche. We've all heard it, but it works for J.J. Watt. Again, it's Alfred Blue, and this will take us to the 2-minute warning. Well, that last sack means that J.J. Watt is now the all-time franchise sack leader. He was tied with Mario Williams coming into the game, and now the record is all his. 2-minute warning in Houston. J.J. Watt and the Texans on the verge of moving to 8-7 on the season. Don't forget, coming up next, many of you will see Indianapolis take on Dallas. Some of you will see Buffalo against Oakland. 2-minute warning here in Houston. The Ravens cannot stop the clock the rest of the way. It is 3rd down and 12. You'd expect Houston to keep this on the ground. They do with Alfred Blue, and it's 4th down.
Well, I'll tell you, you got to give some credit to Bill O'Brien and the job he's done with this football team. I mean, this is a good football team that's lost some tough ones this year. But everybody that you talk to in the NFL, they know when you play the Houston Texans, you better bring your lunch pail because you're going to be in a battle, and they're not going to back down an inch at any point in the ball game.
O'Brien is keeping his offense out on the field. He does have one timeout, which it appears he's going to use when the play clock gets down to 1. Or take a delay of game and just give Leckler an extra 5 yards.
Yeah, you got one of the absolute best in Shane Leckler doing this. He's
Play
already
of the game. Offense, that penalty's declined. 4th down.
He's already done it several times today.
So they take the 5-yard penalty, and Leckler will now punt it away. Remember, the Ravens did block a punt last week in the first quarter against Jacksonville, which Kamar Aiken returned for a touchdown. Leckler has 3 punts inside the 20-yard line today, still getting it done at the age of 38. Fires this one down there, and it goes into the end zone, nearly a 4th by Leckler. So the Ravens will get the ball at the 20-yard line with 1:04 on the clock. They trail by 12, so they need 2 touchdowns. Joe Flacco today, 20 out of 49. For 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. The first 3 interception game of his season.
And you know how John Harbaugh is going to spin it. We still have a chance. He is a coach that will always try and find a way to keep the hope alive. But this is a devastating loss. Make no bones about it.
Flacco to Toussaint. He's got a little bit of room across the 30 and down to the 36-yard line. But again, the Ravens cannot stop the clock. Toussaint stayed in bounds.
Yeah, this is total desperation time, and you can tell even now the Ravens aren't really trotting around. I mean, this is the last place the Ravens thought they would be when this game wound down. You come into Texans with Case Keenum, who wasn't on the team a week ago at quarterback, and your pass rush. This has got to be an absolutely devastating blow to your confidence as a team. And this is a team in Baltimore that just knew. You just talked to them. They knew they were going to make it a way to get into the playoffs.
Case Keenum was 0-8 last year as Houston starter. A week ago, he was in a tree stand deer hunting as a member of the Rams practice squad. Flies to Houston Monday morning and beats the Baltimore Ravens here in Houston. Unbelievable story. Here's a look at the updated playoff picture. Baltimore now no longer in the number 6 seed as San Diego, by virtue of that head-to-head at 9-6, trades places with the Ravens. That'll do it from Houston. For the Steves, Berline, and Tasker, I'm Andrew Catalon saying so long. You have been watching the NFL on CBS. Coming up, most of you will see Andrew Luck and the Colts take on Tony Romo and the Cowboys. Some of you will see the Bills and the Raiders. Good night from Houston.